Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, how are
Um,
you?
Happy Saturday, I guess.
Happy Saturday.
How was your trip?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I had a great time. I enjoyed myself. I relaxed. I didn't think about anything. I took this time out to really, really, really like, yeah, have a good time.
Hmm, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. Did you go in any clubs or anything down there?
No, we didn't go to any clubs, but we did have went to several parties at on the resort, so that was good.
Oh, you went on a resort. What's the name of the resort?
It's called Ryu Montego Bay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad you
Mm-hmm.
had a good time. Don't you have to have a Jamaica is where you have to have a passport, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you
Anywhere
had a
outside
good
the United
time.
States.
It wasn't carnival.
Carnival is this weekend.
You missed the weekend then.
No, I missed it this year. I think Carnival is this weekend for Jamaica, but it be in Kingston, and I think Kingston
Mhm.
is like 4 hours away.
I know they had a lot of they did some it was something that popped up on my Instagram for Jamaica where they had posted like I think it was like 29 cities not to go in. The embassy, the Jamaican
Oh, yeah.
embassy had posted for
They
Americans.
tell you like they tell you sometimes not to go off the resort, but you know how black people do. You know how we do.
That's why we keep coming up missing.
Jamaica is one of the very few places that I would go off the resort. Like I would definitely do it. I did it last
Go
year when
off the resort in Jamaica? Really?
I did it
I
last year.
kind of
I
I
met this girl who worked in the gift shop on the resort because I stayed at the same resort last year, and I met
mhm.
this girl who worked in the gift shop. Very, very, very cool girl. She her and her boyfriend took me and my ex out to a club, and
Oh,
we
that's
had a
nice.
good time. Yeah, they were really nice and showed us everything. But when I went this year, she's on maternity leave, so she wasn't
Oh,
able to. I wasn't
that's
able to
what
link
happened
up with
when she went with you last year. That's how she got set up. She went with you
her.
last year.
Right? She on maternity leave, so I couldn't hook up with her this year.
Set her up.
But the girl remembered me. She's like, "Oh my god, I remember you from last year. You was with your boyfriend. Which one of y'all work at the post office?" I was like, "That was him, but he got another job now." She like,
Oh,
"Oh,
I
you
didn't know that's who you went with.
last year, last year."
I didn't know that's who you. Oh, you did go last year. I didn't know that's who you went with last year. I didn't even
Yeah,
know you went last year. Where was I
yeah,
at?
yeah.
I don't even know. We had the show last year. So where the hell was I at last year?
But I went last year, girl.
That's good. I want to go. I don't want to go on a like necessarily like on a trip like out of the country on a plane. I want to try a cruise.
I do too. I want to try a cruise so bad. I want to do a cruise so bad, but
I would like to try a cruise. I might look into that because what is my
you know
birthday?
what I
I
want
got
to try?
April, May, June. That's three
You got
months.
you got 2 months, baby. You got 2 months.
I don't know if I can pull that off. We trying to do some.
You
We
know what I
trying to look for
that I'm
housing.
really thinking about doing for my birthday? I want to do a solo trip.
A solo trip
Mm-hmm.
by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Where you going?
Belize.
You need to plan accordingly. The way they kidnapping us Americans, especially black. We ain't got no ransom.
Have
We ain't
everything
got no
already.
ransom to pay.
I got everything already like all together, like what I want to do, where I'm gonna stay. I got it all together, like all the protection and all that. But
Jessica wanted to do. Jessica wanted to go. I think she said. I think she was just talking about that. She wanted to go on a trip to. I don't think it was Belize. I think it was Paris.
ooh, solo.
Yeah, she'll go solo. She don't care. She'll meet people.
I want to go.
That'd be nice.
Mhm.
Enjoy yourself. You
Okay.
single. You ain't your son is grown up. That's what you're supposed to do. Maybe I should have had my kids younger, so I could live my best life
Or
and
maybe
party.
you should just only have one. Maybe you should just. Oh, you should have only had one.
I don't know. It's kind of better now because I feel like once we find our place, as long as we within a good distance from my mother. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
As long as we within a good distance, because Dave about to be 15. Kylie just turned 14. So as long as we within a good distance from my mother, where if it's a definite emergency, I think I can go.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got phones. They know how to call. They teenagers. Dave about to be driving and everything. Well, they fine. I'm
You
good. I'm there.
what you mean like a good distance? Like maybe like 30 minutes away, 20 minutes, an hour?
No, like take an actual trip, like an actual
No, I'm
vacation.
talking about you say move within the good distance of your mother. What you mean like an hour away,
Oh,
40 minutes away?
no, maybe like 15, 20 minutes away.
Oh yeah, around the corner basically.
Yeah, basically around the corner. I think they'd be good for a week. They fine.
A week?
Don't tell nobody. Is anybody work for CPS on here?
No, you fine. They leave a kid in the house by
You
themselves.
said what?
You know the law. Well, that you in Florida, so the law might be different.
No, it's the same.
In
Because he
Florida, you
about to
might
be
leave your
driving.
kids in the house for 3 days. As long as they got shotguns, they be fine.
But if he driving, why can't he watch those kids?
Oh yeah, of course.
If he driving. Plus my mother, I'm sitting in the backyard now. They just started the pool. So
What you
I
mean?
think yeah, they just started the pool. I don't know if I can turn this around. Let me see if I can turn this around.
What you on your phone or your computer?
Yeah, I'm on my phone. I'm trying to see if I can flip it. Hold on. Let me see if y'all can see anything. I can't flip it, but you see, they started the pool.
Oh, and that's in your mom's backyard?
Yeah.
Nice.
So they right around the corner. They be, within good distance, but they can basically just come around here when we gone.
Mm-hmm.
They be good. I ain't worried about them kids. I'm to that age now where I ain't worried about them kids. You know how you used to always fuss at me like you keep being concerned about them kids. Them kids is good. David is grown. That's where I'm at now. I'm there now.
Realize it. Oh, now you realize it.
I be out. I be ready to go. I be out. David Friday. David was like, but he waited till 7:00. I don't know if I'm getting old or what. He waited till like 7:00 and was like, You wanna go drive up to Daytona? They got this adult arcade. I'm like, what time is it? But I was already in the bed. So I'm like, good morning, Tamika. I was already in the bed. So I was like, I think
Girl, good morning. I ain't fooling with you. You gonna say I didn't get the memo? We're doing very minimal clothes. This episode of Black Roses, you are giving naked. Girl, I got on this little cute shit.
it's a romper.
It's a 2-piece.
Oh, okay, that's cute. Okay. Is it pants or shorts?
It's
I know you
shorts.
said you was doing shorts. I know you said you was changing over the shorts, guys. Like you said,
It's shorts. It's shorts to it. But girl, you try. I can't wear her.
You look refreshed. You look refreshed. You look like you giving off. You look like you giving off. Very much. What's that movie? Stella got her groove back. You like you giving off very much stuff.
Her groove back. It wasn't Stella. It wasn't Winston. I didn't get me a nice Jamaican man, but I got somebody that's making me smile. I just want to say
that's good. That's good.
And shout out to him.
Shout out to him. He must be there.
No, he's not here. But shout out to him.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. I'm glad I'm glad you loving your newfound
independence.
That girl was cutting up early this morning.
Get her off of here, Nate. How do we get her off?
No, that's one of our best viewers. We can't. That's one of our best.
I'm majestic. Okay, that's fine.
No, Tamika, you stay on. Keep coming with the comments. This one of our best viewers. It's a compliment. Take it.
Oh, she's throwing shade. You just don't know. Y'all can't read between the lines. But I know what she's saying. That's a conversation with you off the show.
Before we get into these topics, did you see that U.S. was saying that they weren't going to charge. Speaking of the traveling to the different countries, did you see they said they weren't going to charge the, what are they called, the something five for Chantel? It's that daggone girl name. The girl from New York. The girl from North Carolina that they killed in Mexico. Chantel.
Oh yeah, that they wasn't going to charge her friends with her murder. Mm-hmm. I did see that. So I'm just wondering, like, are these people going to get away with this, or they just gonna?
Right, because I feel like at first, because the United States was pushing it, that made Mexico push it, and now I feel like that's going to affect them because they kind of had their own rules in Mexico. I feel like they kind of had their own set of rules. So I feel like if they see that, the U.S. is no longer pursuing anything and they no longer pushing that narrative, I feel like they kind of going to be lenient. Like they ain't even from here, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I do feel like that. I feel like they're not gonna take it. What you're saying is they're not gonna take it as serious as they should.
Because the U.S. basically saying, I don't give a damn. That ain't happening over here. Y'all take care of it. And they probably in Mexico is looking at it like that wasn't even a citizen of ours.
They don't even have any. We don't have any jurisdiction over there to even, want to file cases against them. And then I noticed that a lot of the times, they had got their own private investigator and did their own private autopsy. So it out being said that her spine was severed or whatever, snapped. That was untrue as well. So it was like there's a lot of inconsistencies in her autopsy report when the U.S. did it that is showing like. I don't know. I really want to know what's gonna happen with them. Like, how they just gonna go on with their life like everything is okay, knowing that y'all killed your friend.
And again, I don't mean to condone violence, but again, that's where you come in with your cousin Pookie, that's already going to jail, that already did time, and go hunt them down. That's how I feel. I don't care. I
just don't like how it's okay for them to feel like they can just go on with their life, lying, knowing what really happened.
They
like
beat that girl with no remorse.
Like stuff like that. Like that stuff, shit like that bothers me because it's like, how can you really just go on with your life knowing that your friend is dead and you had a part in it?
But look at
KD, put your finger on your camera or wipe it. It just look a little foggy.
Oh, you know what? Let me take this plastic off. It's this plastic kind of bubbled up. Hold on.
Girl, I'ma hurt her. Not the plastic still on the camera.
No, it's not the plastic. My phone, the protector.
Oh, like your screen protector. Oh,
yeah, okay. It bubbled. It bubbled up. I think Gemma, she picks with it. That's better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see? It bubbled up right here because I think she be picking it when she be on my phone. All right, I'm back, y'all. I'm back.
But I don't know. I want to know, like, how can people go on with their life knowing that they killed somebody and just like living day to day like it's nothing?
I mean, you gotta look at the video though. Look at the videos of them and how and look at everything that's coming out. They said one of the concierges went back to check on them. But she felt like, all right, I don't want to disturb them because they just lost a friend. And she heard them laughing and giggling, and then they went out for dinner that night. Like, ain't my problem. I really just want to know what the real story is behind it, but I guess it's never going to come out because it's so many stories lingering. Like one of the stories was like she walked in on two of the guys having sex with each other. Then another room. I just seen that. It was the one that came out and basically was like, that was her best friend. They said that was one of the stories, that she walked up on her best friend and one of the guys that wasn't supposed to be gay walked in on them having sex or intercourse with each other. Another story was she slept with one of the other guys that went on
boyfriends. Yeah.
Another story I saw was something about she stole one of the girls' money, the girl that beat on her or something. She took her money or something. Oh, it's a lot of stories thing. I just really want to know, which I know you're never gonna find out the backstory because they still maintaining their innocence, like, oh, we didn't do anything. Like y'all on video still saying y'all ain't do anything. Okay.
I don't know. I have a
us?
real genuine fear about stuff like that. And that's why you got to be mindful of the company that you keep. You have to be mindful of the people that you around and all of that, because people do be having hidden agendas. And sometimes, I feel like her in the sense, like, I be naive when I don't know a person like me. Unless you come out and blatantly show signs like, girl, I'll be like, I never knew. Like, like I told you, I had a friend for a whole damn near 10 years and didn't know that the girl didn't like me. Sometimes people have that disguise. Huh?
That's the agenda that always like puzzles me. The fact that you would rather maintain a friendship with me for so many years, knowing why would you want to be around somebody?
It gives insane. It's giving insane. It's giving mental patient. It's giving you need to be committed. It's giving mental institution. It's giving Shepherd Pratt.
But they say your enemies.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
But I think, in a sense, that's how they think. They think back.
But how do I know I'm your enemy if I don't know I don't know I'm your enemy? Like, I don't know that. I don't know.
What I think is the hidden agenda. I think the behind it is the fact that they want to be around and make sure to watch your move, to make sure you're not doing better than them. You're not to see what you're doing. Basically, to keep tabs on what you're doing, which is weird. I don't have
that kind of energy
time in my lifetime. Life is
I don't want that. I had this conversation with somebody last night, and this is kind of like on the same topic a little bit. And we were talking about energies and not giving a fuck about what people think about you or how people feel about you. And I was telling him, like, I have just now come into the era of not giving a fuck about what people think about me or how people feel about me. I am now in that space in my life, and it feels so good. Like, I've never been that type of person. I've always been a people pleaser. I've always worried about people's opinion of me. I've always worried about people. I've always worried about stuff like that. But now that I'm in this new space, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm loving that space that I'm in. I'm loving this era that I'm in, because it's like, it feels so good to not give a fuck about what people think about you, and the energy be so good, because when you sit there and you think about what people feel and how people feel, your energy be so discombobulated. You don't know whether you coming or going. It feels so good to be like, bitch, I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I don't care. Keep feeling it, bitch. Right. Keep feeling it.
For me, it's just like, it's nothing. I feel like if you bring those people with that negative energy that's just around you to make sure that you don't succeed, that really, really, it really, really plays a part in your failure. It really does, because you don't know all of the things. They might be going home every day and every night and praying to God that you lose. I mean, even though you praying 3 times harder, 4 times harder, they still going to paying 5, 6, 7 times harder to make sure that you don't win. And I think for me, I don't know. Even though I've had friends, I've always had friends, I still always felt like a loner, because I just always said that I don't give a F attitude. Like, my personality has always been conceited. What is he saying? My personality has always been conceited since we was younger. Being the smallest one out of the group, always being skinny and stuff like that. That never really bothered me. I used to stop past when we used to walk down the street. What I do, stop at every car, look at myself. This, let me see what. And I really think that really played a part, because at the end of the day, for me, it's just like, whatever your opinion of me and what you think of me, that ain't got nothing to do with my life. I got too much going on and too much that I'm trying to, accomplish. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
I do feel like sometimes, I came to this conclusion when I realized that when people already got their mind made up about how they're going to feel, what they think, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you will not be able to change that narrative to them. When I realized that, I stopped caring about what people say, because I realized that you could tell a person till you blue in the face, tell them 11 times on that 51 time, they're not gonna believe on that 51st time. How many times do you have to tell a person the same thing over and over again? And one of my Franklin made a good point last night when we were all talking. He said something of the fact like, I want to know what you think about me. I want that feedback. However, what I choose to do with that feedback is up to me. You know, it's up to me what I choose to do with that feedback. It's up to me what I choose to do with what you want to, about how you think your opinion of me is going to be. I want you to know it's not going to make me or break me, but you're not going to also put your insecurities onto me. You're not going to do that. You're just not going to make me feel bad about anything that you already know that you messed up in your mind about. You're not going to do that to me. It's their insecurities and it has nothing to do with who you are. You're just a target. Yeah, it has nothing to do with it. Sometimes people do be projecting their problems and projecting their issues onto you. I don't like stuff like that because it's like, at this point, you giving mental patient. You need help. You need to seek therapy. You really need to seek therapy.
That's where that I don't care attitude. That's where that way it's good for that to come in, because like you said, it could just simply be that person, they unhappy, so they want you to be
they want you to be the same way. They want you to be the same messed up individual that they are in their mind. And when you can't, I realize one thing about certain people, when they can't pick your brain and input their thoughts and their feelings into you, that's when they get a whole attitude. Now they don't like you. Now, oh, you think you better than somebody, or you think you this, or you think you that. I cannot stand when a person say, oh, you think you better than me. No, I never said that. You think I'm better than you. That's why
when somebody tell you that, I learned that I pay attention. When you get in an argument with somebody, which I rarely do, when you get in an argument with somebody and they tell you that, pay attention to everything that they say when they argue. Don't let them sit up there and say, oh, I was drunk. I didn't mean it. I was drunk. You pay attention to every little comment that they make and you start watching it.
Because a drunk mind speaks sober thoughts. A drunk mind speaks sober thoughts.
And
that is a lot of times it be people, like I said, it be people projecting how they feel about you onto you. Like they want to, in a certain way, they want to let you know, like, I don't like nothing that you got going on. I don't like how you overcoming. I don't like how you going through all these obstacles and you ain't broke down yet. I don't like how you do this. Like on the low, my mother do that. And this is about to get real personal. On the low, my mother do that. It's no shocker that my son smoke weed. So, he recently had said, like, after his homeboy birthday, which is this month, I'm gonna stop smoking weed. I'm not doing it no more. And she like, nah, you probably gonna start using other drugs. And it's like, just because that was your gateway to doing other drugs don't mean I'm that naive. And I have to sometimes let my son know, like, your grandmother really don't have a mind of her own sometimes. Like, she can't really think for herself. She let other people think for her. So that's how she ended up on drugs. Like, she wasn't like, oh, let me just try this. It was try this. And it was like, okay, and I like that about Jalen. He's never been a people pleaser. He's never been a peer pressure type guy. He's never been one of them kids that, oh, my friends are doing it, so I'm gonna do it. My friends are selling drugs, so I'm gonna sell drugs. He's never been like, he waited until he got into college to start, like normal college kids to start.
Yeah, like normal college kids, yeah.
Like normal college kids. He never was one of them kids when he was in high school. He, all his friends smoking weed. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Until he got into college, that he, okay, I'll smoke some weed with my friends, But I
mean, I don't know how to put it without people taking it the wrong way. I feel like parents sometimes can be so harsh on kids that do the same thing that they experiment. Okay. So it's coming. So don't just jump on them and say, "Oh yeah, you're gonna do this and your life is over." Try to figure out another narrative. Try to figure out another way to steer it. Exactly. Don't just sit there and jump on them and make it seem like their life is coming to an end because they smoking marijuana, like they up there snorting coke or something like that. You did the same thing. Everybody did it. Everybody ain't not a soul out here that can tell me they mama ain't tried it one time, especially if your mama was back from the 70s, 80s.
Okay. Speaking of your mamas and them trying it, I know this is kind of off the topic. Baby, what about this Freaknik documentary?
Me and Jessica have been walking around the house trying to figure out if my mama is on this documentary. She got this. She gonna sit up there and turn around and talk about, I don't know what that is. I never been there. I said, we gonna find you. We gonna find. You ain't about to tell me that you wasn't that freak nigga. You had a gold tooth and you used to wear your hair and them big ball what's they called, burl curls. You used to wear them big burl curls.
Oh my God.
You used to wear finger waves and you had a gold tooth. You ain't about to tell me you wasn't there. If you weren't down there, even my father was down there. Mr. Levy was there. Somebody was down there. And I'm gonna catch one of y'all. My mother gonna say,
somebody.
She gonna try to say I was too bougie. I said, oh, you was at Bike Week. That's what you were. You was too bougie to go to Freak.
Listen,
you went to Bike Week.
Somebody made a point. I got a couple points to make off of this. Somebody made a point about it being, I want to know when they gonna do the Girls Going Wild era and the Spring Break era, because MTV and Spring Break, they had, MTV
Girls Gone Wild. Oh, Jesus. Because Girls Gone Wild, didn't they had them in there doing some stuff? Girls Gone Wild, didn't they had them in there doing more than getting naked? They had them in there doing some stuff, if I remember that show.
Spring Break, when they was going to Cancun for Spring Break, child, off the chain back in the day. Listen, I couldn't wait to go get in college to go to Spring Break and go to Cancun.
That's where you're going to find all the Karens at.
Okay. Exactly. Mm-hmm. See, they got all the Karens going to the Spring Break and going on Girls Going Wild. And for the black people, we got all the Aunt Susie's and shit who acting like they wasn't doing it. Oh, yeah. It was real trashy. We got the aunties now who act like they ain't never did. And I said, oh, y'all twerking. Y'all got all this nasty music. Girl, don't act like you wasn't in them crowds with your waterfall hair curls. And, acting like you wasn't out there popping that little
barrel curls with the waterfalls.
And your booty shorts and your tennis shoes. And your
barrel curls with the waterfalls. And the bamboo earrings. Stop playing.
And the bamboo earrings, girl. Don't forget the ballies. Don't forget the ballies and the airbrush shirts. Don't forget the ballies with the airbrush shirts. Don't forget.
And the box glasses, the box shades.
With the long nails. Like, come on, don't do that. But somebody made a point on TikTok when he was saying, like, we're going to see a lot of women in these videos, but let's not forget the men who contributed
That's
to.
Why I said I know I'm see my dad. I might see my daddy.
Men who contributed to them, popping their little coochie on the car. Let's not forget about the men who also experience, who also possess misogyny during this time period. It's a lot to take in when you watch this documentary. It's going to be a lot to take in, not even just about our culture, Black culture. It's just a lot about how we have how we have made evolve. I don't feel like I'm not blaming men. There you go. I'm not blaming men. I'm just saying, let's not forget, because it's not all about
the don't aunties. Take it away.
And the aunts and the mamas. Let's not
forget.
But
don't take away from the fact that don't take away from the fact that.
Here we go. Now we about to agree to disagree. Not today. I had a very good vacation. I'm not doing this with you today. I'm just not. I'm not doing it. I'm not. Because
I just don't want to take away from, just still being, just the Black colleges coming together. I don't want to take away from
that. I think that every girl, and I'm going to speak for every girl, when we all grew up, we wanted to go to Freaknik. I wanted to go to Freaknik. I wanted to be in there with my 40, chilling with my long nails and my shirt. Don't act like you didn't.
I just knew I wanted to see Uncle Luke. I wanted to be Uncle Luke video.
I just knew I wanted to be on Uncle Luke video.
What's the other man with the 69 boys? I wanted to be the 69 boys. The 69. Can't you
see that 2-0? I wanted to be in the Uncle Luke video. I wanted to. Listen, I wanted to. We are only doing what our foremothers have taught us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's no harm. And that's why I don't like when people be like, y'all be twerking, y'all be doing this. Like, we been, honey. This is our part of our culture. We've been doing.
Don't let us. What you say, Black Rose? Don't let us bring back. What's the show you just said? The
what
other show?
Oh, Spring Break.
Yes. Don't let us bring back Girls Going Wild. Don't let us bring up Girls Going Wild.
Don't let us do it. Don't let us do it
because y'all was way worse. Y'all was way worse. The Girls Going Wild was way worse.
Way worse than the Black people. The white people were way worse. Way worse.
All the daggone allegations that came out behind girls going wild, them girls getting raped and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying.
And all that stuff.
Like the same thing with Freaknik, but with Freaknik, a lot of women didn't probably come forward and say, "Hey, I got raped," or "I was raped," at this party on this campus. A lot of women probably didn't say that. A lot of y'all was probably born out of the Freaknik culture, baby. A lot of y'all got conceived out of the Freaknik culture. Like, let's not do that.
And that is the new bike week. So that is the new bike week. Is the new Freaknik. I'll say. Yeah, let me reverse that. Bike week is the new freak. Not to say I'm still not going, because I'm gonna get down to bike week one of these.
Listen, bike week is lit. I haven't been to bike week since the year before the pandemic, baby. Bike week.
Listen,
yeah, it's a definite want to go.
I'm not shading bike week. I'm not shading bike week. Just because I'm married, I don't care what y'all saying. I'm not shading bike week. I'm still going.
oh, no, because you married. No, you can't go. You married. David, nope.
I'm still going. He went. I've never went. He went.
He went to bike week? You let him go to bike week?
I don't care about that.
My man ain't going to bike week. We married. He ain't
going to bike week. But you can go.
Not when I'm married.
If I called you, I'll get ready to say, if I called you and said we doing a girls trip and you was married, the devil is alive.
No, listen, if you say girls trip, that's a different story.
I'm going to tell you the conversation. That's going to happen. The conversation is going to be like, he don't control me. I'm getting my...
The new me gonna ex my husband.
Okay, listen.
Maybe, kid want to go. The girls want to have a good weekend, so we're going on a girls trip.
We'll cut off her phone in location.
Not doing that. The old me would have been like, he don't tell me what that did. I'm going on my own. I don't care. He don't tell me. Yeah, he ain't paying for nothing, but be texting him like, babe, can you cash at me $200? The real me, the old me would be like, he ain't telling me what to do. He ain't paying for nothing, babe. I need $200. I want to buy this shirt. Right. You know me. Listen, I'm just being honest. The new me, I'm gonna have to ask my husband. Well, when I get one, let me not.
But you don't have to. I always put it out there. You don't have to be married. It's not.
You don't have to be married. You don't have to be married.
It's not a thing. Don't feel like you're obligated.
No, please don't feel like you're obligated to get married. Please don't.
But let's get into these topics. I forgot what the first one was. Cause we getting all the way off subject. Now I'm about to plan another girls trip. I'm ready to plan another girls trip.
I'm ready to do another girls trip. I'm ready to do another.
You got me like, when is bike week? Let me see when is
bike week is next month.
Bike week.
Bike week is next month. Y'all ain't said that but a word. Myrtle Beach ain't nothing but a hop, skip, and a jump.
Nate, you go to bike week.
Nate, you go to bike week. He wanna go. He wanna go.
As soon as we say we going, what time y'all leave? What flight y'all catching?
Oh no, baby, we drive. Them road trips. Listen, before the pandemic, them road trips that we would take.
Oh God.
I fucking tear. Listen, I done took 3 road trips to Myrtle Beach.
Girls road trips are the best.
Maybe more than 3. It might have been more than 3 because I went to
Myrtle Beach. Best, especially girls road trips.
A few people. I done went with y'all. I done went with Tamika and a couple of my other homegirls. I done went with. Listen, road trips be lit, especially with your girls. Especially with your girls, and y'all know how to turn up. Yes.
Exactly. When everybody has the same positive attitude, it's always
and that's all I like.
You can't go to a road trip with everybody. You can't go to a road trip with.
I'm not a negative energy type of person. I don't give out negative energy. I don't like to hang out with people with negative energy. It's a 24.
You can't go on a girls trip with jealous people.
You can't go on a girls trip with. I was about to say a word. I love road trips as long as I have snacks and don't have to be the only. You know what? For some reason, on these road trips, I've always managed to not drive because I be so tired.
She sure do. She sure the hell do.
I found my seat in the back seat, and whoever gonna switch out better switch out and hang out here with me, baby. I find my way not to drive. I makes it my mission not to drive on these road trips.
Get comfortable. That's a good idea. I think we should do another Myrtle Beach trip. I think that would be very awesome.
We haven't been in a very long time.
I think that would be really awesome. I might do that for my birthday. That's something.
Let me know, because I'm down for the cause. Wait a minute. Hold up. Your birthday the first week of June. I might have something to do.
Sometime within June.
I mean,
July, August, somewhere like that.
No, let's do June.
That'd be good. The end of June?
Let's do the end of June. And yes, if you guys want to call in, please call in and share your road trip experience, your girl trips experience. If you have any opinion about Freaknik, this documentary coming out on Hulu, call 443-839-0118. 443-839-0118. We would love to hear your opinion.
I want to hear from the people who go to Bike Week and don't have a room. I want to know how y'all get these rooms. This is who I want to talk to. I want the experience of how y'all get these rooms. Y'all, guys and girls, I done seen it on both sides. That's who I want to call. I want to
know about the people who go to Bike Week and share these houses, a whole house with people. I want to know about the people who go to Bike. Yeah, we're going to talk about you in a minute. You don't get off of here. I want to know about the people who go to Bike Week and share these whole houses with people.
Because I just see the whole Instagram where the guy, he said matter of fact, he was from Baltimore. He said, well, see how me and my friends went to Miami. He was in Miami. He said, you want to see how me and my homeboys went to Miami for free. Met some girls, him and his homeboys. They didn't pay for anything. They met some girls. The girls let them stay in their hotel and everything the whole time they was down there. It was the funniest Instagram. I think it was a like a skit. I don't think it was real, but I don't know because he was from Baltimore. All of them was from Baltimore. I don't know, but they was all up in, and I seen that. That's what I'm trying to say. My brother did it once. He ain't had no run when he got down there.
Oh wow!
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. But let's get into this topic.
That's scary. The first story.
I don't know
what's the first story. Oh, the daycare provider.
Yes.
Oh, about the girl.
Yes, let's get into a more serious topic about the daycare provider.
Why did you just go so sad? Like, you was just like, yeah, let's talk about the daycare providers.
Because it was a sad topic.
Okay, go.
All right, so I don't know if it's a video behind this. Is it a video behind this, Nate? I can't remember if I sent a video behind this one. But this is the daycare provider from Maryland.
I didn't because it was a child, I don't want to play that.
Oh, okay. I know. I thought I sent a news clip where they reported it. Okay, so this is about the daycare provider out of Maryland who recorded herself abusing several kids in the daycare facility, and I don't even know how it ended up going viral, or if the parents. I think the parents started sharing it because they reported it to the police. And it was kind of the same thing as the one lady who had the husband that was molesting the kids out of daycare, where they just basically was like, oh, we're starting an investigation, but it wasn't too much to it. And I feel like if the parents didn't push it, didn't share the videos, which is sad. Let me just go back because I keep going all around out of topic. I feel like if the parents didn't push it, it wouldn't have been no more to it than it would have been still an ongoing investigation. Is what I feel like. And so back to what I was trying to say is that it is sad that you have to actually make stuff go viral. You have to actually get on social media and put up a fuss for police to actually do stuff now. That's crazy. It's ridiculous. But
I just feel like what made her feel like this was okay to post a video of her abusing children. Like, girl, you don't know people step behind their kids. Like, I would have definitely whipped her ass and left.
That's mental. That's mental illness.
What's mental illness? Her or me?
Her.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's giving mental illness
for
because
you to sit there and
you to record this. For you to record You
For you
abusing
to even
somebody
put
else's
your hands and
energy.
abuse they gonna kick the little boy off that chair like that, for you to do something. I watched the video and I watched the way she kicked that one little boy out of that daggone chair, and I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Who It took a lot out of me, because to be that cruel to a child that can't defend themselves, something got to be wrong with you. You can't be all there. Ain't no way you can't be all there for you to sit there and be slapping on other people kids. Something's not there, and it goes back to the conversation we had, about these background checks, doing these background checks. I just want to take it back to the previous topic that we had about the young lady from Maryland that got arrested for shooting her husband molesting her daycare kids. These background checks needs to be enforced, because
But
something
you
just
do
ain't.
have people who fly under the radar, like we was already saying. You have people who fly under the radar, people who have never had these charges, and now you don't know what is causing their mental break for them to even do some foolishness like this. Like for her to just feel like that it was okay to just sit up there and abuse somebody's child or children. Like, girl, something is really wrong with you. At this point, it's given you have a mental illness. You need to seek therapy, because for you to even want to be in a field like that and think it's okay to hit people kids, touch people kids, or whatever the case may be, you are dealing with something inside of yourself, some type of demon, or something that you need to get help. You need to seek therapy.
Well, I,
Please.
well, I think there's a couple issues with this story. So, a babysitter is different than daycare provider. Two different things. Often, a babysitter is somebody like a friend of the family or family member or neighbor, and often it's just you're building trust with that person because you know them and they don't have any, you don't know them to be crazy, or you haven't seen anything and you trust them with your child, and that's really speaks to the price of child care in this country. Like it's astronomical. It's mortgage payments being paid on a weekly basis
Yes. Yes.
for child care, and it really,
Yes.
it beyond you doing a, because you can do a background check on somebody and you're just a civilian. You don't have to be in a school system. The thing on the school system is, so say BlackRoses was accused of hitting a child. To avoid paperwork or dealing with the issue, we're just going to tell you you have to find another job.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that you can't go to another school and do the same thing. And it happens and nobody's reporting it because nobody wants to do the paperwork. We just go believe the child, but we don't think that you really did this. But to avoid this, we got to believe the child or the parent. So you go find another. That means that person is free to go do this again if they did do this, or if
If
this is.
they did do that, yeah.
So doing a background check is helpful for people who have been convicted or, have a history of this on record. But if they don't, it's just their word against yours. And often the school system will just fire them or lay them off or take
I had a
the classroom.
I had a situation like that with I had a situation like that, dealing with work or whatever. I deal with, like, we call it reportable events. So basically, the providers, the people who give the services, have to report anything that they deem is abuse or whatever the case may be. Could be something simple like the child failed. Anyway, it was a tech who was out working at a house, and I think one of the parents or somebody seen the tech like hit a child. And instead of them calling the police and doing the work and doing everything, they just fired her. Like they didn't do anything. They didn't follow up. They didn't say, how many times have anybody ever seen this lady abuse this child or anything. They just was like, okay, she's going to get fired because we don't want to deal with the backlash or the whole thing behind it, the
They don't
investigation.
want to do the paperwork.
They don't.
They don't want to, because then they have to confront the parents, and then that could turn into a lawsuit on their behalf. They can be included in that. Like they could lose their license if it's a facility or a daycare center in this case. But uh, it happens. You would be surprised. And
But
now I'm not speaking out against substitutes, but now that they are using so many substitutes and now volunteers, because substitutes are quitting,
Mm-hmm.
To say you don't really know who's in your child's classroom, and that's with the teacher down to the volunteers. You
Down to
don't
the
know.
volunteer.
You know how many ex-convicts are hall monitors in school systems, and that's not to say that they shouldn't be there because they need a job too. But anything could happen, and you just have to be mindful of where your children are.
Right. And that's what I was getting ready to say, especially if you're a single parent and you're working multiple jobs. It's like, what do you do? Like, it's no longer safe. Like, but you have to work, you have to provide. These employers don't care as long as you come into work. They don't care about how you getting there, who watching your child or whatever. It's like,
I
what do
mean,
you,
essentially,
what's their alternative?
daycares is also kind of like babysitting for real. Some daycares don't even teach their kids, numbers or colors. They don't teach their kids. People just drop their kids off and they keep it pushing. Some
And it's
daycares are not
That's the
even like
difference.
real
That's the
daycare
Head
centers.
Start that you're speaking about. Like there's a difference between Head Start and daycare. Daycare is daycare. I'm watching your child. It doesn't have to
right.
be a
It
school
doesn't.
Right,
environment.
but I'm saying like daycare is just like babysitting though.
Right. That's all it is.
Daycare is just a professional babysitting service that's certified through the state. That's all it is.
And it
Many of
seems like
them have
so many.
incorporated education because they're being classified as Head Starts. But
Yeah.
that's only when they
I
have
know the daycare that I used to work at when I was working as a daycare teacher. I had to literally teach and come up with the state was starting to incorporate that daycares had to have some type of curriculum and write this curriculum out for their children because they were finding that people were just watching kids, having a plethora of kids and just
That's what I was
everywhere.
getting ready.
Nobody's learning anything, nobody's teaching the kids nothing. And especially when you got kids who are 3 and 4 who can
That's what I
talk
was
and
getting
can
ready.
know. And in some cases, you had 5-year-olds, kids who wasn't able to go to school until next year because their birthday was late. So what are you teaching these kids when they hear your presence? You just watching them, letting them watch TV all day?
I don't
When
like.
I worked at my daycare, I had a strict regimen. I had a curriculum to teach my children.
Well, that's a board certified daycare center slash Head Start. That's what that is. But you do have facilities that are just simply play centers and watch
Yeah,
centers for
yeah.
children. Now they aren't as regulated because often they're not on the books, but that is up to the parent to do the research versus
Right.
what's the cheapest place to
To
place
get
my
somebody to
children.
see my kids
Right.
while I'm at work.
Right. Well, I remember when Cameron was the only child that I had that actually went to daycare. The other two kids went to Head Start. But I remember a couple years ago, when I was trying to find child care for Cameron, and trust me, I look because I'm one of those people. I'm not putting my
Oh,
kids
we
with
know.
everybody. So it was a daycare that I almost went with because everybody was telling me about this daycare. I almost went with, but something told me no, something just kept telling me, look at this other daycare that was closer to the other boys' school. And that daycare turned out to be great. But the daycare that I almost sent him to, a couple of months after I got him into the daycare that was right next to the boys' school, they had that same daycare. The daycare provider, a parent had dropped a baby off at the daycare, and the baby, it was in North Carolina. The baby was crying. It was a baby, like in a I can't. It was, I don't know the age. I'm not gonna quote it, but it was in a carrier. It was in a car seat. But the baby wouldn't stop crying. The daycare provider left the baby. I remember it played in my mind so bad because I almost sent Cameron to that daycare. The daycare provider set the damn carrier outside and it was cold.
With
Set
the
the
baby in the car seat.
set the car seat outside and that baby ended up dying. That same daycare that I almost took Cameron to. And something just kept telling me, like, no, something, I don't like this daycare. Like, it, and I went to several daycares. I literally went to several daycares, checked them out, talked to the people. Like, I did my research before I put Karen in daycare because I never put one of my kids in daycare before. So I went to several daycares. It was one down the street from my house. It was, one that was around a corner closer to my job. It was one like up the street, but like across from where the boys went to school at. And then this one just sat right here. And this one was like very, I don't know. A lot of people started telling me about this one and the fact that all of the daycare kids that went to the school, David and them school, all of the kids that went to David and them school, and they take those kids across to the daycare. They watch the same kids. So that's what
So it's
made
like
me
an after school
that.
kind of thing too.
Yeah. So
Oh,
that's what made me end up going with them. But I almost, because the one where the lady left that baby outside, it was closer to my job. It was literally like right on the back side of my job, but it was in a house. It was in a house setting. And she left that daggone baby out there.
I beware of house daycares. I'm sorry. I have to
She left
beware
that baby
of
out there
leaving
on
my
that
child
porch.
in a daycare that's in a house. I
I,
need one that's in a facility, honey. I need to know that the state is coming or whoever is over top of daycares. You know, they have early childhood departments in your state education.
yeah.
So I need to know that somebody is coming to look over this daycare doing pop-ups. I need to know.
They
I
the they the same though. Like you have to. You can go to your state and see who is certified.
you
They should
certified.
have their paperwork on display, and not to speak badly about the house ones, because sometimes your child gets better care depending on, the only difference is the size of students that are there,
Besides the
children that
kids
are
that
there.
are there, yeah.
That's the only.
That
But
one.
the state board can pop up at any of them if they're registered, or if someone reports an illegal daycare center.
Mm-hmm.
Report
Well,
them.
I
that
think
was
that,
the best.
for the most part for me, Jalen he went to daycare for like 2 weeks and that he hated it. He was like a year, maybe. I think he was maybe a year old. He did not like it.
You gotta watch
And
the signs.
yeah, but Jalen was also, um, he had attachment issues very young. He didn't like to be away from me. He never was away from anybody that he really that he like loved or was close to. He never really was, he never liked going with people he didn't know. He didn't like that at all. So it was hard for me to, even being a young mother at 17, trying to figure out life anyway, and then trying to have my baby go to daycare. I was like, this ain't right. Like I couldn't do it. But the daycare provider was so nice. She used to be on Drew Hill Avenue. And I remember her daycare so nicely because he would sit in the window, the way that the windows, on Drew Hill Avenue, the houses have really big windows.
Mm-hmm.
So he would sit in the window all day and just wait for me to come. Just sit in the window. She used to be like, he haven't moved. He'll have his little Spider-Man book right beside him, and he ain't going nowhere. He'll get up to go eat.
That's one thing that I liked about the daycare that Cameron went to, was that they was constantly in communication with you. They was constantly sending you pictures throughout the day. You could pop up. Like I pop up sometimes when I first, don't get me wrong, when I first started letting him go to daycare, I told you it was right down the street from my job, but across the street from the boys. So on my lunch break, we had an hour lunch break. I would go in there and just, do pop-ups. That's another thing you can do if you're able to. I was blessed enough to, have a job where it was right down the street, but it was an hour lunch break. So I would do pop-ups and just go walk and check on them. And those are the things that you got to watch, because they, I knew what they told me when his nap time was. And that's when I would go pop up and just check on them. But they would stay in consistent communication. They would send the pictures throughout the day. They would give me reports and tell me stuff. Like, you have to, that's the biggest thing with parents that I keep trying to promote, is that you have to be active. You have to communicate. Daycare providers, teachers, counselors, guidance counselors, you have to communicate with people so you can see these signs. If you're not being actively involved, you are not going to see these signs that are going on. You have to be. It's imperative, especially when you have kids that can't speak for themselves. You have to be. You can't just be laying, like I said, I know these employers, they don't really care as long as you get there. But at the end of the day, it's either your job or your child.
Yeah, true. I
But
think that
also figuring out, so people say that, but they don't also understand the work that requires for the
exactly.
facility or the school.
It's
You
a
have
lot.
to take the initiative. You cannot, especially once your child get into regular all day school, do not think that teacher or that paraprofessional is going to be sending
It's
you
gonna be
text.
sending you text messages like, okay, all day. No, I'm not doing it.
They're
It's
not,
Listen,
because
I
often
got a text
it's
message
that
late
one
last
teacher with
night.
30 students. Mm-hmm.
Late last night, I got a text message from Cameron's teacher, and all she said, she just sent me, and because I was like, I ain't never seen this number before. It was about 7 o'clock, and she just sent me a text. She said, "Hey, I just wanted to reach out to you. Cameron had some concerns about whether his grades were doing good. He wanted to make sure, so he asked to speak to the guidance counselor. Just wanted to let you know that everything is going good. I seen your emails, da 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 da. Just giving me an update." And that was just a text message. It wasn't like something like an email or something. It was more personable. And I like that. I like that I'm able to have that communication. That's for all their teachers. That's every school they ever been to, except
But see, you gotta realize you're a different type of parent. You want them parents that would get on my damn nerves. I'm sure you would.
But
I'd be like,
as a
"God
teacher, the reason that teacher felt the need to do that is because his mom would. That's something odd that he's, and it would come back on the teacher because
damn,
that also, first of all, that teacher doesn't get paid at 7 o'clock to be texting you.
baby,
So if
once the last kid
you're not
leaves, I'm out the door."
relationship, I I'm not doing it. And most parents do not like texts or phone calls.
no,
When
I
they call you, they probably
understand
rolling their head to themselves and all that.
because like I said, school is different. School is so different from when David and Kylie was in the same grade as Cameron. When Kylie and David were in the same grade as Cameron, I was able to walk, to their classrooms. I was able to. The principal knew me by my daggone name, and this is a big elementary school. We
Mhm.
walk in there, she be like, "Good morning, the McMillans. How y'all boys doing, Kylie?" And she's in. I mean, this is a big school, but it was so, it was so personable, and that's the same thing that I've been doing since any of my kids started school. I keep those emails going. I'm constantly at those meetings. Any interaction they have back to school night, they have the science night, they have. I just want to, I don't know. I just have a real try to, I don't know how to put it. Like, I'm not overprotective,
You're
but
involved in your children's life. That's it. I mean, it. Do you know how many parents you don't even recognize until there's like a big problem where it's required for them to come there, and you don't even know who this person is, or they randomly come pick up the child and it's who, like, well, who are you? You know, I've said this before. There's a huge percentage of parents that don't even have up to date or accurate numbers or
Okay,
addresses.
or email addresses,
but
anything.
that's how I was raised, though. I remember everybody at my schools knew who my grandmother was. My grandmother was there, went on all the field trips. If my mother couldn't be there, my mother was in college when I was in elementary school. So my grandmother was at all the field trips that my mother couldn't be at actively volunteering. Everybody knew who my mother was. Everybody knew who my aunts were. My father was. Like, that's how I was raised. So for me, it's like, and that's how my mother taught me. Go find out what's going on with these kids' school. So, and pushing that,
Mhm.
on me made me feel like, okay, I think that really helped with my parenting now. I think that really, really helped with my parenting now, because Lord knows, with all these daggone kids, it's a struggle. I'm not blaming nobody because it's a struggle. It's hard. The fact that, and I'm not going to keep taking all the credit for myself, because David is just as active. He sits down when the kids on Fridays when he's off. He comes in, he sits down, he go, who got homework? All right, come on, who need help with their homework? Let's sit at the table. If I can't make a meeting, he's at the meeting. So we both just as active. I'm not going to take all the credit and make it seem like I'm super 100% mom, the mom that BlackRoses don't like. I don't care if BlackRoses don't
I
like.
never said I didn't
Because
like
she did
you. I
the
never
same
said that.
thing. Because she did the same thing with Jalen. She
But
did
don't
the
feel like you're
same.
being overbearing.
That's what I wanted to say.
If
I feel like
if
that.
you were the type of parent that would nitpick, or you telling the teacher how to run their classroom, I'll be the first one to tell you, get a
You
life,
want to come teach them?
get a life. But
No, I just
but
want to
beyond that,
know. It's like I just want to know
you
what's
know
going
what
on.
is needed. Like, you people just set, people don't even stop. They stop at the corner, let their child out, and drive off.
But it's crazy because in me, I feel like when sometimes I feel like when I do that, like if I stop, I feel like for instance, my colleague middle school. Sometimes when I go up there, just randomly be like, "Hey, I'm just checking." Da 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 da. I feel like sometimes they feel like a little irritated, like she back again. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Let them feel that those are the type of people in the school system that don't need to be there, that are just there for a paycheck. Because if had your child been a problem child, they would be begging you to be there. But because your child does not pose any threat, they feel like you're doing too. No, I am
Right.
doing
That's how I feel. Like I
the
feel,
parent.
I kind of feel, uneasy. Like I don't want these people looking at me again. It's kind of like you're getting on their nerves. You know what I'm saying?
No, don't. I'm telling you, let them feel what, because that's normally the ghetto lady that's sitting in the office.
She Russian.
Right. Because she got so much that she
The
hasn't
Russian
done that
old
she
lady.
needs to do. You're not getting on. It's her job to now. I know because of the
The old
pandemic and
Russian
even a
lady.
little bit before, they restricted how parents could come in the building because we had some crazy parents that posed threats.
Yeah,
That
they even got
fight,
like a
wanted
blackout
to
window.
yell
You
and
can't even
scream.
get back there.
Right, but now, so I know the school system has realized separating parents from children. Now you just need boundaries. They needed healthier boundaries. And people are afraid of parents because if I say the wrong thing, you could accuse me of anything. And there still needs to be an investigation, and you can really halt progress in a school. You can get a principal fired, you can get a teacher fired, you can get a school shut down if you speak loud enough.
Right.
But
So I
don't
just
ever
want to
feel
know.
like the things that you say are things that I need more. If more parents did that and respected boundaries, if a lot of the problems would be. I'm the type of person. If your child looks at me wrong, I'm calling them, and
What?
do that. I do that for the reason of I need you to do your part as a parent at home and make sure you're sending your child to school to say, I can come up there anytime. You better not be giving that teacher any problems. Don't wait till
Right.
you in front of me to be like, you can't treat Mr. Couser like this. You're not going to be disrespectful. And then when you go home, don't let that fucking teacher call my phone no more. I'm tired of Mr. Couser calling my phone. But you're not reinstituting that child into a space of this is how you behave in school. This is not you need to tell your child this is not a daycare center.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
this professional environment, which you have to be a professional student. And I wish I had more parents that were more involved in a pleasant way versus, you need to make sure my child, no, that's your job.
Right. Absolutely. Well, speaking of schools, let's get into our next topic. This Fight Club teacher, middle school Fight Club teacher.
Huh? Where
It's
you
a.
get this from?
I got it off the new some news station. I don't know. I seen it on the news. Got we go.
That's the
Bam. Yes, that's the teacher.
Damn, she look crazy.
That's the teacher. So this teacher started. I don't know. Do we have a video for this one?
No, it wasn't. I couldn't find a video for it.
I got to
Okay.
look this up. It's a teacher who what?
She
Started a
started a
fight club
fight
in her
club in
class.
middle school. Yeah, she started. It was a no cell phones,
No screaming.
no cell phones, no screaming, something else. But
Hold
it's
on.
a lot going on in these schools. So I really wanted to keep those topics kind of similar because there's so much going on in these schools and these daycares. Like it's crazy. Like I just seen a topic. I just seen something on the news where they locked up another middle school teacher. She was involved in a drug ring. She had kids selling fentanyl out South Carolina. Like it is like I'm not laughing, but it's crazy. And I just wanted y'all to look at her because she looks really young.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's becoming one of the issues because if you remember when you was in school, I don't know because I'm almost 40. When I was in school, all my teachers was old ladies. Like I had a few young teachers, male teachers, but for the most part, all the women teachers that I had, they was like close to retirement, and they just did not play. They had a no tolerance, no play. I call your mama. I dare you to move type attitude. So you are never getting a problem out of me. They and I was never a problem child. I was always an A student. I was never a child that you had to call. Like I said, my grandmother was always volunteering. My mother was present. So but it just for me to find out if I even think I'm getting in trouble, I start panicking. I go in the bathroom and cry if I know the teacher gonna call my mama. But I really think that that's becoming a problem I think the fact that these teachers are so young. And another thing that I found out, Nate, I don't know if you probably do know this as a teacher,
Mhm.
that you don't have to have like your graduate's degree. Because I a lot of teachers that Cameron had and that Cameron had when he was in elementary school, when he was in like first grade, second grade,
Mhm.
even kindergarten, they were still working towards their graduates. They
Well,
graduate degree.
even when we were students, um, that's not anything new because now, especially now with so many teachers, and I say this is a problem, and I don't think y'all realize how much of a problem it is. You have first year teachers that are quitting.
Mhm.
Um, but there's always been a teachers in residency program, and just like like at an art museum or something, teachers in residency, they're still taking classes to
Right.
fulfill their requirements, but they're being put into a classroom so they're ahead of the curve. You don't want a teacher who has gone through college and never had any experience. You won't. First of all, you'll never have that because they all college requirements is you have to require them to do internships, and that may be like a teacher may be like a teacher's aide in a classroom, but they may be in college getting their degree. You may have a only teacher that's in a room, but they're a teacher in residency, meaning they're required like a nurse has their clinical hours. Well, there's the nurse is not practicing on dummies at that point doing
Right.
clinicals. They're working on real patients. Well, the same thing happens with teachers. So they're in the classrooms getting their degree. And that's why you have substitutes that may not have finished college. They may have college credit or they have to at least have finished high school to be able to be your teacher. And the way things are going now, there are so many more long-term subs than there ever was. Long-term
Mhm.
mean if you're out on surgery for a couple months or you pregnant and you're on maternity, but now it's because there's a shortage of
It
teachers.
sure
So
is.
now you work and your first assignment can be you're the teacher for the rest of the school year.
Right.
And that has happened to me as a substitute, but because I taught before that, I was good with it. But there were people who was like, "Oh, I want to teach. Oh, all I gotta do is apply for this job. Okay, let me apply for this job." And
Mhm.
now they're your child's fourth grade teacher.
Right. I
It,
remember from
go ahead,
when I'm
go
sorry. I remember when from September when we first moved to North Carolina from when David first started high school, all the way
Mhm.
up until almost Christmas. By the time Christmas came, when he first started, he had a teacher in every class in North Carolina. By the time Christmas came, I think he was down to his last teacher. He had 7 classes, and he was down to his last teacher because all his other teachers had quit.
Yep. And
That's what people
it
do.
doesn't matter how good the system, well, the
The
environment is. So
stress
you
that
can
they
be
have to
living a
go
good
through
life.
is like the stress that they're going through now with the curriculum. Not only the curriculum, you got the kids, you got the staff, you got the administrators, you have the parents. Like it's just a lot of stress that teachers are now going through. It's kind of like how nurses was during the pandemic when they were just tired and they
Yeah,
quit. They were quitting.
that's true.
It's a lot of pressure on these teachers now. You don't want
I
to discipline your kids. I can't discipline your kids, but your
Yep.
kids can come in my classroom and tell me fuck you or whatever they feel like they gotta say to
You
me.
got to take that. You got to
You
take
gotta that. That shit is so crazy to me. It's mind boggling.
it
I was
is.
just watching a
that.
video of her how
It
she
is.
had 30-second
So
fight club.
So
Mm-hmm.
getting to that teacher, I'm not gonna say it's necessarily her age, but there's a thing where there's certain teachers who can just get through to a child.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who you are, you just relate to children. There's a thing where in my case, in my for my expression, like I think women can be more nurturing to children and get them to do what they want them to do. For males, you
You think
normally
so?
have to be coach such and such or coach such and such for you to get that level of respect.
I think
In
it
this
depends on the
case,
person too.
I think what may have happened in this classroom, and I don't know, I just read what you sent me. Um, this may have been a case of just the wrong person in the wrong career path.
Well, I read what they asked her why did she do it, and she said because she has poor class management. she doesn't know how to do, she doesn't do well with managing her class. So she would
See,
give them a 30-second fight, no phone, no yelling, no screaming, and basically duke it out if you got a problem with somebody. Duke it out
and
for 30 seconds, and after that, leave it
the
alone. You
word,
can't
the
talk
phrase
about
you use, classroom management.
it.
That
Huh?
is a small part of what you learn if you're on a track, like in college, to be a teacher. That's a small part of what you learn. That's a part of it. Discipline, classroom management is but that has become number one to you teaching.
Right, exactly.
And class, that is,
They
and
don't teach you class management in school.
well, you learn some tactics to classroom management. So
Some,
that's they
some.
stress you like it's that's why you're supposed to always have your lesson plan. They big on lesson plans and making
Hmm.
sure it's clear and it's enough in it that because they think that because you don't have a good enough lesson plan, that's why children. So the teacher's always being blamed for
For
why the
certain
children
things.
are misbehaving
Exactly. Exactly.
and why
When
they
it,
can't
when
keep
it
their
could just really
consistent.
be the fact that you have a really good lesson plan. You could be a really great teacher, but you just have that one unruly child who you got to take so much time away from. So when you taking time away from that one kid, now the whole class is now becoming an uproar, and you got to go back to getting them all together. It's
I
always down to that one, maybe one or two kids.
in
It's
certain
like
places that I've worked, in terms of me, I've watched myself and other brilliant individuals who know what they're teaching get fired because they can't maintain the class. And it's
Hmm.
very unfair. And it's why a lot of teachers are now choosing to quit before they're fired because you come there to teach. You don't come there to be a disciplinarian. And you're so restricted as to what you can say to a child.
What you can say,
Like
what you
if
can
I
do.
say shut up to a child, that's a write up for me in certain school districts. And not to say that you should be telling somebody to shut up, but they focus on me trying to figure out how to get control of the class. And what happens is it becomes a revolving door of teachers. So the students then understand, well, all I gotta do is raise hell. They just go get rid of this person.
And we gonna go
that's
on to the
crazy
next one.
because it hurts other kids
Especially
too.
like coming into the pandemic where you have classes that have not learned anything all year because it's a
It's a
everyday
revolving door of
of
teachers.
substitute teachers.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's what happened to David in high school. Ninth grade, going into
Mhm.
ninth grade. And but what I was going back to say was that it's sad because when you have that one teacher, like I remember him telling me, like, "Mommy, I'm getting ready to lose my last teacher, and that was my favorite teacher, his horticultural class. Like that's my favorite teacher, and she
Yep.
leaving." And it wasn't necessarily because of the kids, it was because of the staff, because
Yep.
of how she was being
That's what
treated
I
by
was
other
saying.
staff members. That's why she was
If
leaving.
it
And
ain't
I was
the
like,
kids, if it ain't
"Oh,
the parents, it's the staff, it's the administrators,
that's
it's
Well, it's
so
a
other
mixture.
true."
teachers.
It's a mixture of it
It's
because
a
your teachers see you struggling and will walk past your classroom. You have principals that you cannot send in many school systems. You cannot send a child to the office anymore. You cannot sit a child outside the classroom anymore. So that child could run in and out, run up and down the aisles of the classroom, run up the halls, and you're told as a teacher, you need to manage that behavior.
That's not for you to manage. So you ain't no daggone social worker. You ain't no daggone daycare provider. That child need to go to daycare, not school. That's not what you came there. That's not what your education provided for you when you went to school to be a teacher.
Right. Yeah.
That's not that involves some extra education somewhere else. And are you going to pay for it? Are you going to pay for me to
Well,
learn
it's not even extra education. I'm now acting as well, and see, like cities like Baltimore in the public school system, you have now on staff in the building a counselor, a social worker, a licensed therapist.
how? Hmm.
This is now the facility. This is no longer a learning environment. This is
Right.
a facility.
mm-hmm.
Well,
And
what?
that's where a lot of the problems are coming at because as a teacher I'm now being said it's something you're doing wrong, not these children are coming in this building with problems that are beyond my teaching education. They are
Well,
now forcing teachers to now focus on that's what mindfulness training is and yoga and I forgot the other term. So now we are now having to be gurus of of therapy in order
fitness,
to just
fitness gurus and
teach
therapists.
the child. And it's
Well,
a
I
way
don't
to teach
understand
it. I
what
love it
period
because
with the.
it's bringing in meditation and yoga, but
Mm-hmm.
I am not a yoga instructor. That's not what I spent all my damn money to Sally Mae to come do.
Say that. I didn't come here to be your child's therapist or your child's counselor. I
If
am not here for that. I'm here to help him or her learn and go about their business.
just
I
sit in the room, and not even your child's classroom, but just sit in a random classroom, volunteer for the day, sit in the lunchroom, look at how these children are allowed to behave,
mm-hmm.
and then look at how they then treat the teachers in the meetings. If
Mm.
you could be a fly on the wall in some of these meetings, I've loved teaching since I was 23.
Me
I
too.
am now 39, and I don't care to ever be in a classroom ever again.
Oh, you 39. Ooh.
Well, first of all, it's still 39 where, and actually I'll be 40, so where,
She's gonna stop doing
Ugh,
that.
39. Ugh.
and I still look your age. Thank you.
Oh, baby, I'm only 27.
I still get carded at times.
Oh,
So,
baby, I'm only 27. What?
oh no.
What's
Mm.
what's
Maybe
T?
those eyelashes are giving 27.
Oh, baby, I'm
But
only 27. What's
I
T?
feel for teachers like her because I knew that was the issue. She was trying to figure out how to be like you have teachers trying to do TikTok. I'm not
You
doing no damn
do.
TikTok.
You do. You
They're
have
trying
some teachers who do really
they,
good at the TikTok thing, though. There's a lady on TikTok who's a teacher. She does like English, and she does really good words with teaching kids how to use certain words and sentences and stuff like that. I like it. I like it. But you have those who don't know how to do, who are fresh out of college, who don't know what to do, who's probably was a little shrimp their whole life, even in high school. You was probably quiet and nobody knew you. You was a nobody. You didn't know nobody. So now you're trying to be a teacher. Like, girl, who the fuck gonna listen to you with your little squeaky voice? Who
but that's not
finna
fair. But you know what's not fair? Because I did all the required work that it needed for me to be a teacher. This was not what was in the plan. Because you have made learning environments clinical institutions and not learning environments because you're doing all this testing and shrinking their brain, and it's not fair to those teachers who have put in all that work to get the degree or
That's
get the job. Like I had to interview for this. I didn't just walk into this classroom off the street. I had to interview. I had to
Most
put in
people
the work.
did.
And you
Just
have teachers who have
long
been
as you got some type of teaching background nowadays, just apply. You'll be a whole teacher of a whole classroom.
but
yeah,
like
You
they
get a
need
whole classroom now. You don't even need that. You don't even need
yeah.
it.
But
but
how
like
long will you will stay?
right
How long you gonna stay?
because I
For me, she said I went for an interview at a Baltimore City Middle School, and I was turned off by the principal, so that was enough for me. And she wasn't concerned with the students; she was concerned with the budget. Period. A lot of them are.
Yeah.
A lot of them are concerned with the budget. Yep.
that's
And
crazy.
sometimes you just not like it's just not. I remember Tamika taking that interview, and I did not want to say to her, "Well, this is what's going to happen," and that because I don't know who you are, and you may have that thing that can relate to a certain child, but you also will have children that don't care who you are.
And don't give a damn who you are, where you from, or
Care
how,
who you
who
are.
knows you.
You are just a person that they can get fired, and they know this now. So take
You
your
got
chances,
people who know
baby.
about child abuse. You got kids who know about all kinds of things. Well, if you say something to me, I'm gonna tell my mama. My mama gonna come up here and she gonna, do X, Y, Z. She
And
gonna
remember,
whoop your ass.
remember when that and it wasn't a thing? Well, now it's a thing
Now what's the thing?
because their little cousin may be selling drugs up the street from the school, and they gonna get their little cousin to meet you after school, or
Or
they
they
gonna get their
homegirl.
mother. They gonna tell their mother this
Or
one
they
story,
gonna tell that mother, and the mother gonna be dumb enough to tell her homegirls, and they gonna try to come to school to fight you.
or get you fired.
It seems
Mm-hmm.
It
like
happened to me too many times to even care to think about, but it happened.
Mm-hmm.
all the things that are of importance when it comes to our health, when it comes to our education, all the things that are of importance to, you know, as far as life, as far as your lifestyle, things like that. It seemed like it's always some type of, you know, upper person, some type of executives that don't know, have the physical experience, that aren't actually in the schools. Just thinking, you know, back from when I was in the medical field, everything that y'all talking about, or that you're talking about in particular, Nate, as far as a teacher, that's everything that I heard in the medical field, on the nurses' sides, on the doctor sides. And it seems like the hands are always being tied by those people that have never actually been in that position, have never actually started in that position, are the ones that's making these decisions. And
Well,
it's
I think with a principal, some principals have been in that situation. Some principals have been in those, you know, not like how nurses are, you know, like you got your DONs or whatever y'all call them people, and you got your whatever and your whatevers. You know, when it comes to
I'm talking
principal,
about
a
in
lot of the
terms
time, in
when,
order to get hired as a principal, you had to been some type of educator for a long period of time,
yeah,
not just go to school and not do anything with education.
right, but I'm talking about in terms of when y'all talk about the budget. So when y'all talking about, oh, the lessons, you aren't giving enough lessons, you aren't managing your class right. When you talk about in terms of that, it's the same terms that I heard on the medical side. You're not managing your patient right. You're giving your patient too much time. You're not seeing 10,000 patients within an hour type thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's always like the
Oh, you
hands are
talking about like
always
as far as
tied.
like the politics of it.
Right, right. Yeah, that's what I'm going with it. Yeah, it just it's crazy. Like it's sad. It's sad because, you know, when you raising kids, you know, that aren't adults yet, it's like what is gonna come? You know, my biggest fear is that, you know, I know one day I'm not gonna be here for them. And it's like, what are they left with? Like it's
As
like
far
what
as
is,
what? What you talking
like
about?
just, you know, just one day I'm not going to be here. They're going to be older. They're going to be grown, and just everything
Go ahead,
that's
Tamika.
trickling. What you say, Nate?
Oh,
Everything that's like trickling down when it comes to politics, when it comes to the education, and teachers quitting, when it comes to just everything, the gun laws,
go ahead, Tamika.
the bans, all
Okay.
that
So
stuff. It's like
I was
it's
calling in because my daughter just recently started working and she's actually the assistant to the principal of the school. One thing that she was very vocal and let know was that a lot of these kids that come to school, because you know she looks young, you know she's in middle school, so my daughter kind of looks young, so I think they kind of
She looked
gravitate
like
to her
she
because
in
of
high
that.
school.
Exactly.
What you said?
I said she looked like she in high school.
Exactly.
Right, right. So they actually come to her and confide in her with a lot of things, and a lot of these kids are going through so much. Like they release on her, and she calls me and releases it on me. Like some of the kids come to school, they eat all the meals that's given out in school.
Yeah.
So you know we have a pantry that's at our office. You know we keep it with like snacks and little stuff like that, and it's like for the kids. She's like, Mom, some of these kids coming, I can hear their stomach growling. You know what I mean? Some of them, their clothes aren't clean. She's taking some of these kids' clothes home and washing their clothes. And I'm like, Ashley, you know, make sure you show empathy now. You can't show sympathy because that's going to drain you, but you still have kids that you have to take care of at home. But, you know, she's so invested. And she's like, you know, there's some really good teachers in this school line that kid that do the same thing I do. And that come in. She said, some of these kids, you know, and it's like listening to you guys talk about this. You know, I was a student, like all of us were. And you're definitely right. I 100% agree. If you get at home, but what do we do when there's nobody at home?
Yeah.
Or they're checked out. You know what I mean? And all of that, these children and everything.
What do we do when nobody's home?
That's what I said. It's creating a mess.
Why are you telling me about a budget? That is nothing.
Your phone kind of breaking up, Nate.
You know, so yeah, I just wanted to say, let's keep this conversation. You know, are supposed to be our future, and we really, really need to just anybody that got anything. I know you teach. You know, going to school, Tasha. You know, include me in the style lounge because I'm all for it because these kids need a
I have some ideas because I've been out of the school system full time since October, and I've done a couple classrooms for some principals that needed my help, but days. But even for me, like for the neglect from the principals, and not to blame one entity, but some of those teachers that your daughter talks about, that's out because they tried everything. I had a pantry, baby. I had not getting paid nothing. So now I have to dip into that, and I'm hitting up dollar stores and get just so I can keep in the classroom. Teachers who may have a child that's hungry, and that says a lot about where we are with this issue, and even the that we were on, like I feel for that teacher. She was doing something that she felt like this the only way I'm gonna be able to teach if I let them fight
Yep.
or
If I let them fight.
do their TikToks, and
Yep.
that gets abused. Right. So that says a lot about the environment. But
It
tell
does.
your daughter keep doing what she know it's gonna be hard, but they need people that have that type of empathy. But
Mm-hmm.
tell her don't get burnt because she will turn into the same ones that just check out.
right, and that's what I don't want to end, and that's why I try to support her as much as I can. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you for always calling
y'all.
in.
Continue to have a great show.
Thank
She's
you.
so amazing. I love her so much.
Aw.
She always comes with some great insight.
Emotion because I see parents like you, KD, and it's hard to it's hard to replicate that type of parent. But and I've been doing this longer than anything, and who came to be a teacher in my elementary school because she came and volunteered a couple times, and that was back in the 90s. You don't realize it until you're in it. What the problem is, so easy to get burnt out and just so people can
You
judge this
okay?
teacher all that. But how many of your children were in her classroom giving her
You
problems?
okay? KD, you all right?
Oh, yeah. A spider came down, tried to jump.
Girl, if you don't, I thought you done passed out or something. You done fell out.
Y'all see me jump up in that chair. I was sitting there and I had my head down listening to me.
You get on my whole nerves. Girl,
spider,
I'm like you.
and a spider dropped. It was the one of them, and then when it dropped down to the ground, it literally kept jumping at my shoe. I almost lost my life over that spider. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry, y'all. I heard what you were saying, Nate. I'm
Rudy
sorry.
has a comment.
Rudy said, don't get a job dealing with kids if you don't really care about the kids because I don't play about these kids.
Well,
I don't think it starts
Rudy,
from there.
nobody intends to hate a child. And I think there are people who just don't like children, who just love being a teacher or always dreamed of being a teacher, and then factor in, it's gonna be children here, right? There's
Right.
I think that's like 5%. The rest get burnt out because of the politics. And it's hard for you to say, well, you need to quit your job if that's the only thing that I've ever wanted to do.
Right.
That's like telling somebody who dreamed of being a singer, girl, just go type somewhere or go clean somebody's bathroom. Like, it's disrespectful to blame the teacher. Like, of course, I got burned out and I should have done the things. Well, a lot of systems are now adding in. That's why there's so many days off now for teachers because it's really for them to recoup. If you notice, since the pandemic, there's an extra day a month that teachers, are off because
Yeah,
it's
I was wondering
needed.
about that. I thought it was just me that noticed that.
It's necessary. Those are self-care days. Those are planned self-care days. That's what they're labeled as, because it's tough, especially around this time where there's really, so after spring break there are no other holidays
Right.
Well,
until the
other
end of
than
the school year.
Memorial Day, and then the end of the school year.
I
Yeah,
think
but
they
that's
should
one
be.
day.
Just one
But now
day.
you see that there's like every other Wednesday or
Yeah, they get the
Wednesdays,
first
something like
Wednesday off
that.
a month. Yeah, the kids got the first Wednesday off a month or the first Friday.
And the
Yeah.
teachers, sometimes the teachers aren't off on that day. We often have professional development. So
Mm-hmm.
the teacher's still working, it's just without the students, because they realize teachers are getting burnt out. Good principals, you'll see them having people come in and do massages all day, or they'll treat them like during teacher appreciation week. But that's 1 week or one day out of a year that teacher gets that type, and then they typically have to go home. And some of those teachers, they got families, they got children, they got responsibility, so they don't ever get a break. So yeah, but
I don't. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everybody. I heard what Tamika said. It when she said about her daughter going and washing the clothes. I remember there was a school. I want to say I heard on the news there was a school that actually had, which I hear that a lot. They actually had washer and dryers for kids that they come home, they come to school with their clothes, the dirty
yes,
clothes or the same clothes on for a week. They actually started bringing washers and dryers. I heard
yep,
of the schools having actual pantries for kids.
yep.
And it wasn't, and I hated the fact that I was so shallow, because it wasn't until the pandemic how much I realized how many kids that there actually are kids that are out here going to school just to eat. And I felt
Girl,
so
that's a whole bunch of kids in the
Or
hood.
for peace, some children they getting
when they
abused or
did
That's a lot
those
of
neglected.
kids in the. That's a lot of kids in the hood. The majority of the kids in the
when
hood.
they did those trucks that would come during the pandemic during lunchtime. They would come and
Mm-hmm.
tow trucks that the kids had to come and get the meals for the week. When I
Yep.
saw how many kids, like in during the lunch break when the kids was in school,
Yep.
during the pandemic, that's when I would take the kids for a walk to let them get out the house for a while when they all had their lunch break at the same time. I say, come on, y'all, let's go walk around the complex. And I would see the truck out there. And I remember one of the boys' teacher screamed over there. It was like, hey, McMillan, y'all want to come over and get something? And I'm like, no, no, thank you. And she was like, it's going to get thrown away. And I'm like, no, because I felt like I didn't want to take that food away from somebody else because they had to go to more than one stop. But she kept like, come on, they can get it. And I'm like, no, y'all fine. Y'all just ate. Y'all got snacks sitting at y'all daggone desk. Y'all
But
fine.
they planned for the whole, and notice how soon into the pandemic that happened, because they knew that it was going to be children that was not going to eat on a regular basis, being
Mm-hmm.
home all day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I
It,
just felt so shallow about it that I just did not realize how many like it's crazy. Like I don't want to. I feel so bad because it's like, what is the solution for these kids that don't have no anybody to really help them, that don't have, like, I know we still have the boys and girls clubs, I know we still have all these mentor programs and stuff like that, but it's not no good if you don't have somebody that's helping these kids get into these programs, that's taking these kids
mhm.
down to these rec centers and doing the big sisters and big brothers, because we still have that too, right? We still have the big brothers and big sisters clubs. I see it a lot on
They in
Instagram.
select areas. They not as widespread as
Mm-hmm.
they used to be
I
when we
think
were
that
younger.
what you got to understand is some of these schools, especially schools in the inner cities, don't have a lot of after school programs. They don't have a lot of programs where the teachers want to take time out, or even people in the community want to take
But
time out and come teach the kids
I
or
feel
come sit with the kids. We don't
I'm gonna
have.
say I'm gonna say Black Roses. That's not correct. The
true.
problem is many of the parents take advantage of them. So they don't. So if they got something to do, come on, let's go. And it's very little I can do for you if your parent is picking you up 2 hours early every day, or it's very much if the parent doesn't reach out for help. There are some parents that they are working this system and getting everything they need for their children, and then there are other ones that are too prideful or feel like, no, I got this, but they need it. Like, you don't need it, KD, but there are some parents that just are too embarrassed to say they need it.
Yeah,
or won't,
Mhm.
schools are giving out canned goods and produce
Right.
every week.
They
Normally
still
they go home on Fridays with a bag of groceries.
right. They still do canned good drives. Yep.
Right. The after school programs, there's so many, it's
They
overly
just did a drive for
done.
shoes, for used shoes. They just did a drive at the elementary schools. But
hmm So
yeah,
there are people out here doing it. It's just not enough. It's because it's happened.
that's what I'm saying.
People
That's
have been
what
down
bothers
for so long. It's
me.
just
Right.
not enough.
That's what bothers me. Every time we get into this topic about the school system, I don't know. It's just something that just gets to me because it's like, where is the solution? The teachers can't come up with a solution. They try everything they can. The community is trying things, but it's like we need a better solution. What is the solution to get these kids to where? Because
Maybe we need KD to be the superintendent. Maybe that's what needs to happen.
I ain't going to school that long. I quit.
See? See?
See, look at you giving up on the kids already.
I
Maybe
listen.
KD need to become a teacher
I
and
never,
create
I
another way.
I've never stated since I've been on this show, have told y'all that I like kids. I won't set myself up for that. I'm
But
gonna
you,
if
but
you
it's
come out
not
and tell
about
you I don't like
liking
kids,
kids. That's why that
but
maybe
I
you
feel
don't need to be in the
bad.
classroom.
Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
But there are other positions that are just as
I look at the
necessary that
kids.
are not directly dealing with the children. And I'm feeling that for myself. Like that may be my only other alternative because I don't feel safe in a classroom no more.
Right.
Mhm.
I'll probably be broke if I literally went to school and took in every child, everything. Every time I seen some, within the inner city when I was still living in Maryland, the kids that just didn't eat stuff like that. Man, my house would be full if I could just take them up like that. I remember going to them homeless drives and stuff with the kids on Saturdays and seeing like the little kids come out there. I I don't know. My house would be falling, and
I'm gonna tell you
I
that's
just
who
want to
my
take
mother
everybody
was.
in.
That's who my mother became. My mother adopted families for that same reason. And it I'm not saying I wish she would not have. It will definitely affect your relationship with your children because you will get really involved in it. But it's a balance that needs to happen. Like maybe you can't bring the family home. Maybe you can't keep, open your home to them, but you can go somewhere and do it. Because that creates an issue with your children and not feeling like they had enough of you.
Right.
But it's something that is, if more people did it, it wouldn't all be on my mother's shoulders or all on KD's shoulders. Or,
Mhm.
we all know that parent that is always at the school, always volunteering, always no more than the principal knows. But we never encourage that person to move forward and move into the political realm with it because that's where a lot of these decisions are being made at. When a school gets closed down, that's already a decision that was made, and the community has really little power in that other than really making the change happen. But it's a forever going issue, and many people they feel like, well, my children don't go to those types of schools, or I don't have no children. And those are voices that are often necessary and needed to making these problems go away. Or you're going to continue to have teachers that feel like they got to have a fight club to keep the children to feel relevant to the children.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Now that
Kid.
girl probably not going to get hired nowhere else in that city or state that she in.
And she might. That other girl got that other teacher that I read that had the kids selling fentanyl. She had the kids selling fentanyl. She was part of a big drug trafficking ring. She had some of her students selling fentanyl, and they said 2 or 3 years prior, she had just been charged with leaving her own child, who was only like a couple months old, in a daggone car when it was hot outside. She had just been charged with that, and they let her come back and teach at another school. They
Mm-hmm.
fired her from one school in the same county. They fired her from one school because of that charge for her endangering her child. And she ended up back in another middle school. And she didn't get charged for the fentanyl. Well, she got charged for the fentanyl, but that's not how she got caught. One of the kids that she had, one of her class students that she had selling fentanyl, he must have messed up her money or something. And they found the 17-year-old boy, they found him off the side of the highway, butt naked, beaten really badly. Like somebody had beat him, like with a
Hmm.
gun and stuff. He was only 17, and he told on all of them. She didn't get caught for the fentanyl. She got caught for they beating one of her
Beating
students,
the child.
messed up their money. One of her, I guess it was one of her runners who was actually one of her students, and that's how she got caught.
And that's
But that's
sad. I mean, and
time.
those are special situations. I don't want anybody to feel like that's a norm. But in some situations, it may be a norm, like that one. But
So she
I don't want to just tell parents go activate, go, because then they're gonna start breaking boundaries, and it's gonna go back to the
Mhm.
same system where you're not allowed in the school building. You got to take your children outside for you to get them.
Uh-huh.
don't
But
break. I
just
mean, you can still you can be active. Start with the PTAs and find out exactly where you can be active at. That's the biggest thing. Start out with the
hmm
PTAs. Sign up for them newsletters. Them newsletters annoying as hell to me. I get them in my email. I get them in text message. And then if you go on a website, it's the same newsletters. But I mean, it's there. Like they annoy the hell out of me when they come on my daggone phone. But I still read them because I still want to know and make sure that I'm not missing out on anything. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should do something. Maybe I.Am.She can do I don't know. You got your own place, Crystal. Maybe we can do a boys and girls club there. I don't know.
No,
You
thank you.
like to be a child care provider.
No, thank you.
and you gotta really know that, because I've questioned myself over the years, like, do I like children?
I had to. And I love kids. You know, I started off loving kids. That's my major in college is elementary education. I love
Mm.
kids. I've always wanted to be a teacher from when I was a little girl. A
But
teacher
the
or a
the thing
pediatrician.
is, your love of children don't always equate to you being in a classroom with them, because that's a
Exactly.
Right.
special gift and talent for you
Mhm.
to be able to teach something
Mhm.
and balance that with classroom management.
Mhm.
And some
Right.
people need to be administrators. They need to bring back the vice principal. Well, the vice principal now are called administrators. So
Mhm.
each
Yeah.
grade gets their own in certain
Yeah.
situations. But maybe you need to be a therapist or a life coach or a sports
Right.
coach, or that. And that's why I initially went into the school
Yeah.
system teaching art, because I know I don't care about teaching people math or science.
Got
But
it.
And
after a while, you
I'm
start realizing you're incorporating those things into your lessons just to support the other teachers.
Exactly.
And I've seen some really good systems, but I've
Mhm.
also seen some piss poor
Mhm.
leadership.
Mhm.
But it's such a political game. I really think the next story, if possible, can we save that for next week? Because it's too much.
Which
Yeah.
one?
I
Which
was
one?
going to say that. The last one. It's in the chat box. I was going to say that because
Oh.
that's what I really wanted to touch on this week is because it was so much going on
hmm
within the school system, the daycare system. It's like every day you turn on the television, it's something going on in the school. It's a school shooting. It's the little boy down here that just beat the hell out of the daggone teacher for taking his Nintendo Switch and
What?
got shot. Little black boy, the school not too far, the other high school. So it's like three high. I told you it's not like three high schools in this district, and it was Matanza, I believe it was, but it's in the same county. It's considered Flagler County. I think if I'm not mistaken, if you live in the BA section, so we have sections. We live in the S sections, which they say is like the more prominent section. If you say you live in the S section, everybody's looking at you like, oh wow, you live in the S section. So they have A, B, C, and P section. They consider the Black people section, and that's the school Matanza. And the little boy, middle school, no, high school, no, middle school, Matanza. It was a boy, and I think they say he was on the spectrum. He was playing his Nintendo Switch, and the teacher took it from him, and they had him on video. He was a big boy too, being middle school. He beat the mess out of the daggone teacher in the hallway. Beat the mess out
hmm
of that white woman. He knocked that white woman unconscious in the hallway.
And that happens a lot when children bring cell phones or
Mhm.
tablets and stuff to school. You have to fight them.
But you have to have. But at the same time, as a parent, I prefer my kids to have cell phone and devices at school because I need to know what's going on. Sometimes I tell them, report, don't take your phone out in class. Make sure your phone is on vibrate. But if it's a situation where it's your word against your teacher. Don't be all I say don't be all disrespectful. Like, I got you on camera, my kid. Just take your hand, slide it in your pocket, and hit record, so I can know everything that went on.
But I'm gonna say that's not safe
Mm-mm.
because your child doesn't know when that time is.
Mm-hmm.
So what's gonna happen is they're gonna do that for every situation. And if they get along, if they get away with it, every child is gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not allowed to record your child in my classroom. So your child shouldn't be able to record me in the classroom either.
Well, it was the situation, the incident that happened.
Hmm.
It was the incident that happened. My child was being basically his his education was being disrupted because a couple of little girls in the class liked him because he was from Baltimore, so they just wanted his attention. But instead of talking like a normal teens and saying, "Hey, what's your name? Where you from?" They decided to throw damn paper to get his attention. But he he don't he took that as somebody trying to pick on him. And
Hmm.
when it was asked upon, like, where was the teacher, what did the teacher do, it was just like, oh, she only called when he jumped up to defend himself. Then she was like, oh, he a problem. I told the other kids to stop, but he kept going because somebody throwing paper at him. But you
Because
didn't say
but
anything
see,
when they
but
initiated
understand
the
this.
tantrum.
Because the four of those people are not the only ones in that classroom. The teacher may have only caught wind of it when she
Mm-hmm.
saw him reacting or responding.
No,
But the thing is,
the thing was recorded. Everything was written down. She saw them. She notated the same thing, that the girls started throwing paper to get,
hmm
because they kept trying to pass it off as, oh, one of the girls like that. This was everybody's statement in the report. Everybody's statement said the same thing. The girl liked him, including the teacher. The girl liked him, so she started throwing paper to get attention. She wasn't picking.
hmm
She liked him, so she started throwing paper. So to what in that situation did you find that it was okay, Nate, from your point of view? So she knew they was throwing the paper because she wrote
hmm
that in her own statement. So but they passed it off as, oh, it's okay. She liked him, so she threw paper. That doesn't give them an excuse to throw paper.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I
it
feel it
doesn't.
needed to
But
be in this
I'm gonna say a more peaceful way to approach it because that camera phone thing is gonna get somebody hurt.
I'm gonna get somebody hurt. You
And
said it.
often it's the adults that suffer more when those situations happen. All I'm gonna say is when there's a parent pushes for an investigation to happen, all they do is they pull the students out of that classroom one by one,
I want to eat my
and they
Pringles.
ask them what happened. And that's typically how we find out what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally against the cell phones only because it becomes viral moments.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to record that. Somebody's going to put that out. And yeah, the teacher may have been trying to weigh her options. I'm not defending her actions, but with like, okay, I can deal with that, but I can't have you getting up out of your seat
I'm
because that's
hungry.
going to create another group of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just saying the phone thing is not because it's children don't have common sense. So they don't know when to not do it. They know
Right.
when to do it, but they also don't know when not to use that. Because
Right.
it very well could be another situation. And I want to make sure I get this. And then that's how incidents escalate. And then that's why they don't put cameras in classrooms because
They should.
interpretation can be off. Like when we see the video clip, we typically see when the teacher is fed up and beat the hell out the child. But we
Mm-hmm.
didn't see how somebody threw a chair at this man's head or been calling him out his name all day long.
Which is why I think it's a good idea to put the cameras in there so you can see the interactions all day between the teeth, because it's always two sides to that story. And like
Can
you
you
said,
imagine yourself?
most
Mm-hmm.
Can
of
you
the
imagine
time,
yourself watching a video of your middle school age or high school age children, and you see something that looks like something, and you like, "Oh fuck this," and I'm going up this school. But
well, that
that's why they're not allowed. The cameras in most schools are right outside the door,
right.
so
Mm-hmm.
you often pick up the sound of what happened anyway. But it is unsafe for all parties involved to have cameras in that room because who's going to monitor that? If you let the parents monitor that, you will have a line of people at that door every day, ready to beat the hell out that teacher or one of the children in that school because something looked a certain way.
But you had recorded lessons the whole time during the pandemic. Nobody had a problem with those recorded lessons.
No, that's different. That's
That's because it was virtual.
Yeah, that's different.
I don't think
it ain't in a classroom though. It's at your home.
Right.
No, it was in a classroom. They had some schools that were teaching. They had some kids that were home, some kids that was in the classroom.
Yeah. Well, that's what was happening towards the end of the pandemic, where they were doing A and B day, where they had half of the students in classroom and the other half virtual. Still, when they didn't want the full classroom back yet. But even in that situation, you know how many parents got CPS charges on them,
oh my God.
or not charges but calls, investigations because something looked a certain way, or you not thinking. I'm at home, I'm walking around in my bra, and I forget that he's in the living room in the classroom.
Right.
It was so many parents that had investigations opened up on them. A lot that were justified.
I did that
because there was some things going on in them homes that I saw some stuff that and heard things on cameras.
Really? I did. I heard a lot of stuff. I heard this daggone lady, she would sit beside her daggone child and tell her, and you can hear her in the camera. I don't think she knew how to work the thing, because you can hear her telling her, okay, write this down. Like she was doing his work right beside him. You can hear.
She didn't think because she wasn't on the camera they couldn't hear her.
I don't think so. And she would say, and she would interrupt. They had to. So many parents. They had to start sending them emails out because so many parents was jumping in the middle, like they might be in the kitchen and over here. What you say to Shaquan? You
want cameras in the classroom?
One time, my ex-boyfriend daughter was on Zoom on the virtual shit, right? And the girl was like, you gotta get up and wash these dishes. Like, girl, he is in school. The teacher was like, he in school. She's like, I don't care, he at home. He need to get up and wash these dishes. Like, girl, this boy's in school.
Well,
or you see the baby up one day. Or you see the baby sitting on the other sitting on their stage.
There was a lot of babysitting from the students.
A lot of babysitting.
There was a lot of inappropriate things going on in the background.
I can attest to one. I told them they're going kids up. They got into an argument on camera. I'm like, y'all lost your mother
with each other
because y'all about to embarrass me up on this. Cut the cameras off.
They got into an argument with each other.
Yeah, because it's the pandemic. You stuck in a house. One person started accidentally rubbed up against the other person. They siblings. They sitting in the house. They already stuck in the house. Now they had to sit at the same table doing classroom time. Even though
why would you do that? And they're not in the same class.
At the beginning stages, before we knew what to do, it was just trying to get the computer and
sit them all at the same table or something.
Right, find something somewhere stable where they could all sit at. Because you forgot one of my kids has autism, ADHD. If I put him up in the bedroom and tell him go sit, that boy gonna be asleep the whole class.
He's gonna be asleep the whole. You gonna see. This is what you gonna see. I'm gonna tell you. This is what I saw. This is what I saw 90% of the time.
Tell me I'm lying. So
this is what I saw. Just looking at the ceiling fan.
Oh, you gonna see one of these? Wait a minute. You gonna see one of these?
Definitely saw all that. Definitely saw all that. So after a while, I had to, I had one child that sat at my desk, at my office desk before I started working from home. One child was sitting in the living room at the office desk. And then the other two would sit across from each other. I had them sitting across from each other at the dining room table. But before, when it first happened, you got all three of them, even though they got their earphones on and they already stuck in the house, because y'all know I didn't play about my kids during the pandemic. I wouldn't let them come outside. They came outside as soon as I would tell them, you see another kid walk past you with no mask on, come on in the house, don't play. So I think that started to bother with them too. And one child rubbed against the other child and they just went off. The two oldest boys just went, oh, he touched me.
Well, your kids got a problem with their hands anyway, with keeping their hands to themselves.
No, they
don't. I don't know why her children beating on each other. I be like, what's wrong with y'all? Her kids
But
like beat Monique.
just imagine 30, 35 students doing that, and you, the teacher, trying to maintain. I told y'all before, I had
I'd
children
have quit.
playing porn.
I'd have
There was
quit.
one incident where I think she forgot because it looked like he was like in a lower. You know how some apartments where it's like a little area over to the side, and you really
Hmm.
can't. It's not in an open, but it's off the mother was on the couch with a man,
Oh my
and
God.
I'm calling her phone. I see her look at her phone and toss
And
that shit.
kept going.
Nuh-uh.
Ooh.
When I
No,
say the
no.
things that I saw on, but I think the way she was sitting, she thought she was out of the way of the camera, but it was a clear shot of her laid up with this man. Now they wasn't. I think. I hope they wouldn't have done anything with the child still in the
Right.
room.
Some people do.
But the way they was laid up, they was boo loving.
That might have been her job. She was trying to get her rent. She wasn't playing with you. You messed up her rent need. She ain't playing with you.
Well, do that outside. Go in your bedroom.
You
She
don't know
ain't
her
trying
living
to hear that.
situation. You ain't know her living situation. It might have been a 1 bedroom studio and a baby had to run. You don't know they living
And
situation.
that's what it honestly looked like to me. I think it looked like one of those studios with like an attached den or something to it, but it was just I like it as a tool because there are going to be no more snow days.
Yeah.
And y'all know the
Yeah.
crazy thing, we haven't had that much harsh weather to even have snow days.
Hallelujah.
But
The Lord is good.
um, so if we
Right.
could do the last two, if we could do one, the last story, and then save the other two for next week.
What was
What's
the
the last
last story? I forgot.
Hold on.
I'm on my phone. I can't see it.
Ariana Grande
Oh yeah,
Response.
No, I'm gonna do the other one because they said we need something that's funny.
uplifting.
Monique.
Yeah, I added like a funny one to it, and we could do the
Monique.
other two next week.
Oh,
Here
you
you
made
go.
me start watching a day on SWV and Xgate. Now I'm invested.
It's sad though. Here you go.
I said, Daddy, I want to be with another woman sexually. And he looked at me so beautifully and so patient and so loving and said, me too. He said, you mind ever? He said, is that what the told me? I said, Daddy.
I just wanted to know if that's
I don't think she came out the closet. I just think that she is doing what most women are now doing. They're more comfortable with their sexuality and their
sexuality.
choices. You
No, it's
know,
her. If you look, you have to watch the whole special.
oh, I didn't watch the whole special. I just thought that was that one clip, and everybody thought she was talking about she was going to be gay. And
Yeah.
Well, she tells the story of her not coming out because she didn't want to disrespect her grandmother.
oh,
Well, we live in Baltimore, so come on now.
oh,
And
okay.
I like that she said it, but I think we need to give everybody that same grace. Because if that was a man saying that, you'd have been like, oh girl, no, he got girl. But I think it's even Monique is getting backlash from it, but she's telling her truth. Like many people didn't feel like her comic thing was funny because she was
I thought
telling a lot of stories like that.
I thought it was
She was
funny.
telling a lot of stories about wanting to be with a woman.
Not just but she was telling a lot of truths about her life
Her.
in this
Yeah.
industry, her personal self, why she is who she is, and I think that's what comics are doing right now. We just let what's his name, Chris Rock, do that, but they are ridiculing Monique for doing one because
They
she
did
has
that
this
before her.
personality thing that people think that she's just a big mouth, but she's
But they
telling her
did that to
story.
her before. They did that to her before. Remember, she talked about it before where they did that to her about being in the same line of work with males. How she get a different, how she get a backlash, and they can talk about some of the similar things, and it's just like it's
Hmm.
fun. It's entertaining.
Right,
That was her
right.
issue before. And then some people are saying, oh, because of the thing with Oprah is why she came out and decided to kind of deter the story towards,
Gay people.
yeah, is because of the issue that's going on with her and Oprah. It's crazy. I mean, again, it goes back that people not minding
He's
their
also about to sue another production company, Paramount, because
Paramount.
they have
Oh,
made
for the
so many
Parkers.
millions off of the
Off the
Parkers.
Parkers. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
people hating again.
Mm.
I just think for me personally, I don't think there's anything. It was real. I
Yep.
don't know how people feel about real. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They like it behind the doors. As long as it's not in front of their face, they good.
Right. 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 I think it was. I think it's something that y'all should watch as women, as just black people. It did not. It felt real to me. It wasn't just another comedy special. You can go and watch all her other comedy specials, but it was a maturity in it, and it just opened it up for so many conversations. And we probably gonna have
Mm-hmm.
a lot more people starting to come out because that probably fucked a
You
lot of
think a
people
lot
head
more
up.
men or a lot more women?
Well, we know the truth about that. It's not going to be as acceptable for men, even though once a lot of men come out, the subject will often change because people got short attention spans. But it's not the same. Michelle Obama could come out as bisexual, and it'd be more tolerated than if Barack Obama came out.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's an extreme case, but look at how they treat Will Smith versus Jada Pinkett.
Right.
It was acceptable if she was out there munching, but if
No,
he was
actually
getting
it
munched,
wasn't. It wasn't. The
well,
the
that's
the
because people didn't
the,
like
the
her.
black
They didn't like
community,
her.
exactly. The black community gave Jada all types of backlash about her entanglement. You know, especially the
Well,
black men.
that's her
They
cheating.
drug
That
her ass
that was
through the
just her
fucking
considered
hood.
cheating.
How that's considered cheating when me and my mate decided to have an open relationship? How am I cheating?
Well, I'm saying that was considered cheating.
Yeah, that
And
was considered cheating to the majority of people who felt like,
right.
oh, she did well wrong, but not to them
But
because
if
they
she'd have
decided
came
to
out
have
and
an open
said
relationship.
her and like she's friends with like say her and Tony Braxton had a lesbian love affair,
Now that wouldn't
I
have been a
don't think
problem
it
because
would have
niggas would have been
been
fantasizing over that.
right. They wouldn't have said much, but that
But
same
because she
grace
had a whole
isn't
relationship with
given
August
to
Alsina,
men though.
yeah, because she had a relationship with August Alsina, now people want to be like, oh, she a hoe. She a
Right.
hoe.
Well, that's
All
the
right.
same thing they doing right now with going back to Escape. That's the same thing they doing kind of right now with Latasha about her husband coming out with this side piece. Now they saying now pregnant. She getting all types of backlash, and she basically came back, which you can tell she did not
She
know
said they
that
don't have an
about.
open relationship, they have open communication.
Right.
See, my thing
What
is
she
this:
thought was
running a
open
marriage,
communication.
and this is I've had this conversation over the last couple of days, and I've sat and I thought about the things that a lot of married people do to keep that umph going in your relationships. Like, I know being content and having sex with the same person can be very difficult for some. For the majority of married couples, it's very difficult to constantly have sex with the same person over and over again because you know what they like. Even for non-married couples, even for people who've been in a relationship with somebody for 20-something years, you know, it's very difficult to have that same sex over and over again. But what I don't like is when your partner is selfish enough to feel like they want to step outside the marriage or they want to bring somebody into the marriage not knowing, like, damn, nigga, I'm not happy neither. Now, if I
Well, I
was
mean,
a
and I
married
think
woman,
y'all have had those conversations before. When you introduce sex into a relationship too soon, that's what happens. I'm sorry to blame it on that, but
what
that's
you
what
mean? What you
happens.
mean? Say that again. What you mean?
When your relationship was built on sex and something happens, men and women go through spells of not wanting it. So does that mean you get to go out and cheat? No. But if you built this off of sex, that's bound to happen.
Now
I
we
think
talking about marriages here. We talking about marriages where we've been married for
Yeah, but
5
was
or
that
6
marriage
plus
built on
years.
sex though? Was that marriage built on I have great sex with this person, I want to marry them?
I mean, I'm gonna I don't know, but I'm just speaking in general when it comes down to married people. And I'm not married. I've never been married. I just know a lot of married people, and I know that a lot of married people are not happy sexually with their spouse, so therefore they introduce other things to kick up that relationship or kick up that intimacy in their marriage. And not just married people who've been with men, like, relationships that's been together for like 5 or 6 years. Any long-term relationship, when it comes to just a sexual component of that relationship, your person, somebody somewhere in that relationship is going to just be content, right? That person is just going to be content with just, okay, you want to hit it from the back. Okay, you want to do this. They're not going to want to explore unless the other person says something. They're not going to want to explore unless the other person says something. And 9 times out of 10, the other person who is saying something about exploring or spicing up that intimacy is often the person that is bored and is sometimes using it for their own selfish reasons.
And I agree with everything that you're saying, but if you got with someone under the restraints of you were madly and passionately in love with this person and it was so everything was clicking, you didn't take a time to get to know, because people who want those spicy things, that didn't just happen 30 years into a relationship. That was like that when you first met them. And they lied about it or covered it up because they didn't want to come across a certain way, but now they're exploring those things. Just like that was an interesting part about the Monique special. She came to her husband at some point in their relationship. I'm wondering, her first 2 marriages, did she ever bring that up? Was that a thing in those relationships?
She probably did.
Or she probably didn't, because we would have been known that she was bisexual.
Or she probably was holding it in for so long, and now she felt like, now that I found my person that I can be myself with sexually, I want to be able to let this man know how I really feel and what I want to do sexually.
But my point in saying that, we have to create spaces for each other in relationships.
We have
to be able to open up, to create spaces that are safe for people to be able to, because often, when we're young, we have certain mindsets, and as we get older, we may mellow or harden, and you just don't know which one, you are until you're in the moment. But we have to begin to create safe spaces for each other to open up. If it's something that you ain't trying to do, be honest about it, but don't do something like a threesome just to be able to say, well, I'm trying to give him what. If you ain't about that, like, a threesome will never happen in my relationship. It's just not gonna happen. But I'm not gonna agree to one just so I could keep somebody.
That's true.
And there are a lot of those types of relationships where people from the very beginning are doing something just to have somebody, or just to say they got somebody, or just to please somebody. If it ain't what you want, say it. Or if it's what you want, speak on it. Because, like in this case, she was like, when she was so afraid to bring it up to him, and bringing it up to him, he was like, well, shit, let's do it together. Yeah. But you don't ever know those things until you say it.
That's the other thing. When you in a marriage, when you're in a relationship, you have to be open to whatever their response is going to be. You can't just blow up and say, oh, well, then I want a divorce or something like that. You have to, if you're going to make that a thing, or if you're going to bring that conversation into the relationship, you have to be okay with whatever the response is going to be.
So, question: have any of you ever been to? I asked you what the act was. Look at you, nervous already.
Right.
Have either of you ever catered to your mate in that way? Like, they came to you with a feeling, or did you come to them with a feeling?
I have never had my mate come to me and say, let's introduce another party into our, you know what, I'm lying. I did have my ex ask me, can, I want to have a polyamorous relationship. And I said, well, you only 3 minutes of fun for me. What the fuck you going to be for somebody else?
A minute and a half.
I mean, I'm being honest. And one thing about me, y'all know
Not 3 minutes of fun. Oh no, you can't.
You only 3 minutes of fun with me. How the fuck you gonna want to introduce somebody else into a relationship? Please, we already know what that means. We didn't even want to talk about her.
We're not even just bringing. So, okay, I'll be transparent.
I'm gonna be transparent. KD want to act like she just holier than thou.
Right. So it's between you and I today, Black Roses.
She get down with the get down.
But I can't say it the way I want. So I've dated. So I'll say it this way: I've dated someone who I watched blossom in terms of trust. Okay. In front of me. Mm-hmm. And it was an amazing thing to see how it happens. I don't think many people could be as patient as I was in that situation, but it all boils down to like a level of trust or comfort. Because some people are so like closed off that they can't do certain things. Like I don't like talking about it, but the act of it is fine. I just don't like talking about it.
So you don't because like so you saying you wouldn't be a safe space for your spouse to come in and say, Nate, I want to try XYZ. You'd be like, let's just do it. I don't want
no. Right, let's just do it. And if I'm uncomfortable, pineapple.
But so what if the situation is like a situation where it's like let's say, so you saying let's just do it, but I don't know how.
I don't know you won't feel comfortable with doing
that. I don't know. That's
what I'm speaking on my comfort level.
I mean, for me, I've had relationships where a spouse came to me and said they like certain things, and me, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be transparent. I'm down to try it. If you're willing to try it, I'm gonna try it with you. I'm gonna do it with you.
Okay, 3 minutes of fun.
Listen, but if I don't like it, I'm gonna say I don't like it. I'm gonna say, that wasn't for me. That wasn't for me.
Freak.
However,
but see, and a lot of that you have to. So for me, I grew up in a space where my mother would call like a boyfriend her friend, and I grew up around older women, so I walked into my adult life being very prudish about a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't allow me to really know who I was on a sexual side until in my 30s. Really,
we have such a taboo around sex especially when it comes to talking about sex.
But it's a double standard though, because then you got people with multiple sets of children or 10, 15 children. Where was the prudishness at?
Where was the prudishness at? You got grandma having 15 kids. Where was the prudishness at? Yeah, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't like this. I love being able to be a safe space for somebody, whether it's sexual.
I like to be myself.
Or anything. I want to be myself. I need
to know. I'm afraid of what that may mean for KD. That's what my fear is.
Don't be afraid.
Because she tried to slide that in the midst of the conversation. I like to be myself. What does that mean?
I want to be able to come to my partner and say to my partner, I like this sexually. I want to be touched like this sexually. I want to try this sexually.
But I'm gonna tell you, in you doing that, you have to create a safe space.
And I do.
Because they have to receive what you're saying, but you have to be ready to say, well, maybe we can work up to that. And you like, well, I want to do it now. And you like, well, baby, like
I'm always down for working up to it because I've been there before. I know me sexually. When I go there sexually with a person and we might have sex for the first time, I'm gonna try your basic way. But after about a while, I'm gonna be like, hey, listen, tap, tap, tap.
Oh.
I need you to spice this up a little bit.
Really?
I need you to pick it.
Well, I'll say don't give orders. One, because that will. I have you saying it the same way you saying it right now.
No.
I got you saying it.
I say it to them like this. Hey, have you ever thought about? Let's just speak hypothetically. Have you ever thought about whips or collars? What you think about that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you a even more comfortable way of bringing up these topics.
Have you ever thought about
what their desires are?
Mm-hmm.
But
But a
you
lot of men
were
don't know
like,
what their see. A lot of men don't know what their desires are
but
sexually
because they've
because
never been asked and they've never been given a safe space to be able to really express it. And the first couple times they'll say something real vanilla,
very vanilla,
real
very
very
vanilla,
vanilla like.
very
And they'll say,
very
but
plain.
they're built. They have to build, especially for men. They have to build that level of trust with you because a
Mhm.
woman, when she's being scorned,
She
will
gonna bring it
throw
out.
out all that.
See, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. I might
But
throw a
they don't
couple
know
stuff,
that though. They don't
but
know
when it
that.
comes to me and them sexually, I'm not that girl that gonna be like, well, nigga, you like for me to, it like you. I'm not gonna do that. I'm
But
not gonna be like,
that's how
oh, you
many
ate my
women.
ass, so
That's how
don't
many
eat
women probably did
my
that to them, or they saw do it to someone else, and that'll shut off a man, and all you will ever be is doggy style to them.
okay.
That's a quick way of not getting anything, any pleasure out of it. And maybe that's why they were 3 minutes of fun.
No, they
I'm
were
never letting that go. That is gonna be the
that's all
new
he was worth
She
3 minutes.
always say that. She always
that's
pull
gonna
out
be a new
the
segment in the show.
same
3 minutes
person
of
that she
fun.
keeps talking about.
3 minutes of fun. Y'all already know I want to do my X-rated podcast. Y'all already know because I am comfortable within my own sexuality and with my own sexual being to be able to be I want to be that safe space for other people to be like, I like to try this, but I don't know
But
how
you
to.
have to, it's a way of doing it though.
Oh yeah, I know
Just
that's a way
simply
of
talking
doing it.
about it. Like
Oh
for
yeah.
me, no, this is, if any of my older friends saw this show, it would still be a difference in how they typically, because I don't talk about it. You
Right.
typically don't meet the person, and even if you meet the person, you don't know who they are. I don't talk about things, and that's because of past experiences and just the trust level that I have with the people that I'm around. And it has
Mhm.
nothing to do with you personally or individuals first. It's just I had to build up that trust. And I was raised by older women, like grandmas, great grandmas, and shit like that. So it's certain ways that you were allowed to talk about things at one time that are all off the table now. And I think for men, you have to bring it up in a way where you're just talking about it and you're not like, let's do this. Because they have to find interest in it and comfort in doing it. And I gave some tricks to let you know how to do those things. But I've just learned because I had to get out of a mindset, and it is something to be said. A young boy raised in a family full of women, there is a lot of truth in that. But you have to, at some point, that young man has to learn things, and that trial and error is not always the best teacher because trust will get damaged and self-esteem and all those things will get damaged in the process, and then they have to relearn it. And then I'm 39, just really discovering what I like and being able to say what I like. It's a big difference. And I know it
Listen,
happens for women too, because when you all speak out on things that you want, you automatically a hoe. Oh, you out here sucking dicks? Like, did you think I was your first? No. But so there's double standards on both sides, but whew, yeah.
Y'all nasty. Both of y'all need. I'm telling you,
First of
both.
all, you still haven't said anything.
And I ain't, because I'm married and supposed to stay behind closed door.
But that's not the assignment today. That wasn't the assignment.
I listen. I like that's why I like being married to the person I'm married to. I can be myself. If it's something I want to try, if it's something they want to try, I'm okay with it. I'm open to try anything once. I got some freaky things that he knows
Did it
that he
take you
likes,
all time
but
to
he
get
don't
to
pay
that
for it.
point?
No, no, we've been like that since the beginning. When he met me, I was dating a girl, so he already knew some of my
Oh, so you was the freak.
sexuality.
Okay.
Yeah, and to find somebody that matched my freakiness, I like it. Like I
So
want
y'all from day
I
one, y'all tapped into that, and that's not a norm for many couples. Normally, one person
no,
comes in like that, and the other person hides it.
no. I like that's what I like. I like that we can both say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to try, and it's open. It's the okay. We can try it one time. We can go ahead and do, or not, try it one time, but we can try to see how it go. I like that. I mean, I've been open to key parties, red door parties, all types of parties.
would you ever go to a swinger party?
I sure would. I particularly like midgets, and he know I like midgets. He be sending me midget pictures because he know I like midgets. That's my.
You want to have
Midget?
sex with a midget?
I got things for midgets. I ain't going.
You want to have sex with a midget?
I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket.
I'm scared.
Midgets?
Yes, I have a
Midget?
midget. He knows that. That's funny though, because he knows that, because he will point, like, it was one midget that was played in. Remember the midget that played in Idlewood?
Idlewild.
That
Mm-hmm.
midget actually lived in North Carolina when we lived in North Carolina. He was a drug dealer down the street, and I used to see him all the time. He's like, "Why don't you go talk?" But
Wow.
like, he knows that that's one of my things. Like, I just have a
Midgets?
Yeah,
I don't kink shame, and I don't do all of that. So yeah.
So I did share a little detail. I'm not giving y'all too much because there is some things I can get deep and dark, but we can't talk about it on here. But
Oh yes, we can.
no,
What's
we
the
can't.
problem?
We can't
This
talk
ain't no
about it.
PG show. This ain't no PG
Let me
show.
tell you.
We can do an
Okay, you
auntie
remember
after dark.
You remember how y'all was talking about who you have a celebrity crush. You know my celebrity crush is, and y'all probably gonna say, ew, you nasty. Now I know what type of freak you is. Y'all
Kevin
guess?
Gates.
You know it is.
Who?
Kevin Gates.
Kevin Gates?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
What you want him to eat your ass? What you want him to eat
You
your ass?
you with the booty bandit group.
Ain't nothing wrong with eating a little bit of ass. Ain't nothing wrong with getting your ass ate.
So you saying that's how you extended those 3 minutes?
No, I wouldn't eat that ass. And listen, I'ma say I'm not going back there unless I know your ass is clean. If you get up off that toilet seat and I go in the bathroom behind you and you left streaks on that toilet, you know what I mean? Your butt ain't clean.
Streaks.
I mean,
I'm not talking about for them. I'm talking about for me.
I know.
Okay.
But she was talking about for them.
Vice versa. I'm vice versa, baby. I'm vice versa.
I've heard it before.
Oh, that's where old theater yo came from. Okay, I kind of picked that up.
Tamika said not you was.
I kind of picked that up.
I don't know.
I caught that vibe. I caught that. Okay.
Maybe that's why we've been friends so long. We having no judgment.
I have no judgment. So listen, when it comes to my friends and their kinks, I don't kink shame. I don't judge. I don't do any of that. I am all for people exploring themselves sexually, because if you can't explore yourself or be who you are sexually, who can you be? You can't just, all right, hit it from the back. And let me give you some hair. You give me some hair. It's more to it than that. Sexually,
be unhappy.
It's so
obviously you out here eating booties.
It's more than two. It's so much more. It's so, the realm of having sex is so deep. You can go so far with your partner. And
I'm gonna end it with one story. I'm gonna end this with one story, and I'll tell y'all, since y'all always say, "Oh, KD don't never tell." When me and my husband bullshit.
She better come up with some bullshit.
Be quiet. We gotta give her space.
When we first started dating, don't judge me. When we first started dating, y'all know up there at Federal Hill, like right in front of is that Digital High School?
Yeah.
Digital Harbor,
When we first started dating, I don't know, we just had this real frisky side, and where they used to do like the little movies up there on Federal Hill, we left, and started taking a walk down there, and we ended up having intercourse right there in front of the high school, right there on the sidewalk where we could see people coming towards us.
Oh, you trying to be on a sex offender list?
You had sex outside, like just outside in the atmosphere?
Right there on the sidewalk. We could see the people walking. They'll tell.
Wait a minute. He had you bent over the sidewalk. He had you laying on the sidewalk. Which way? Behind the tree?
We were standing up.
You had a dress on? How was this? Was your pants around your waist? And he was just humping you.
We were standing up.
Nobody call or nothing.
We just jumped. That was outside.
You about to land on the sex offender list.
Listen, I don't do that no more. I learned my lesson. I thought the older I got, the older I realized. The more I realized, it was like, yeah, you can't really do that without being in court. And I don't want to be in court talking about, where they go announce your case and what you did, and you got.
I have a friend. That got caught. She got caught in a park, and I went to court with her. And
And
when
all the
I
people
say
sitting back there.
I felt embarrassed hearing the charges.
Right. When they start reading them charges off and all the people sitting in court waiting for them to go up next. No, I learned, but I was done with that. But that was like, I literally thought about that stuff later on. Like, we really did that. Like, we was just nasty. We was just nasty.
Outside was fine, but in front of the school, that's a charge,
Well,
baby.
I didn't realize that it was, it was just the moment we was walking down the street and we was just talking and touching, and it was just like, boop, right there.
Oh,
How we seen the people. We was just kind of counting down the closer the people was walking to us that they can see, and then we was just like, all right, let's go.
freaking
No
freak.
judgment here, girl. No judgment.
That was
here.
before I had kids. That was before I had kids.
Oh, baby,
You ought to did it. Don't act like that was y'all last outside
Don't
encounter.
act like you ain't never been in that kitchen cooking a little meal. Them kids upstairs, he done came behind you and slid that thing in there while you was cooking in that kitchen. Don't act like he ain't never did that before.
Now, when we on our adult vacations, not the vacation with the kids, but the vacations alone, it's no like nothing. It's no boundaries, it's no filters, no nothing. We going everywhere. It's going to happen. Some things is going to happen. It's going down. All cards on the table.
Well, that's
you think you know somebody.
Oh, listen, this don't surprise me, honey. I know her like the back of my hand. And I'm just waiting and patiently waiting. Honey, I know her.
I tell people everything that go on.
I ain't say you got to tell it, but I know you, so I ain't tripping off. This ain't new to me. This ain't new to me, honey.
Yeah, it ain't the worst thing. It ain't the worst thing I've done.
I know that ain't the worst thing you've done.
That's why I keep it kind of PG. I can't tell y'all the worst thing. But yeah, I'm into everything. I mean, like I said, I'm into key parties. I'll do a key party. I'll jump into it. I'm here for it.
Okay, key party.
I actually want to do one of those parties, that secret club that they have where you come with your lingerie, you give a little secret pass.
I just might be the person that could help you with that. Because I just might.
Say that again.
I just might have started a sleepover.
Red Door Club.
I've been to a swingers club.
Yeah, that's what it is. Where you come in with you and you put your lingerie.
I went to one about a couple months ago.
A couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
How did that work out for you?
It was great, actually.
Were you involved? Were you active in that club?
I'm an active member.
Oh wow!
Listen, you said that.
Maybe that's gonna be the first I.Am.She event.
Wait a minute.
I.Am.She retreat, all right. That retreat gonna be off the chain.
All the way off.
I need my own room.
We gonna get.
Listen, y'all know me. I have no problem with talking about my sexuality and what I like. I just have no problem with it. It's just about finding the right partner for me. I don't want to settle anymore. I don't want to settle anymore for just regular schmegular sex. I need the person I want to settle down with for the rest of my life has to match my size. He has to, because if you just want to hit me from the back and then get on top, baby, I can't do nothing with that. I can't do nothing with that.
Not in 3 minutes, anyway.
And not in 3 minutes.
You'd be much happier.
But then they want you to get them head all night. I can't do that. I can't do that.
To have somebody
all night.
I used to be. This jaws might talk a lot, but baby, that ain't used for that no more.
Oh wow, my God!
I want to be able to enjoy sex with my partner, and I want to be able for my partner to enjoy sex with me. I want my partner to be. And it may sound far-fetched for a lot of people, but I want to be able to be like, I don't want to go have sex with nobody else. My nigga do everything for me, For a lot of people, that's not realistic for them because they can't be who they are sexually to their partner. And I've been there before. I've been there way more times than I want to allow. And me moving into the space that I'm in now, when it comes to my sexuality, I'm going to be open to the person who I'm with. I'm going to be completely transparent with them. This is what I like. This is how I like it. This is that and the third. I want to be able to be that transparent.
Okay, freak.
Period.
And that ends the show. All BlackRoses freakiness. That ends the show today.
We can try I.Am.She after dark.
On the sidewalk.
We can try I.Am.She after dark.
I listen, y'all know I want to do my X-rated podcast. So if anybody out there listening and you want to be a host with me on the X-rated podcast, hit me up.
Mm.
We're gonna get this thing popping. We're gonna talk about some things.
Don't say. I mean, you've been saying it, but you've been dragging your feet. So
I love because I can't find nobody who want to be open. You know, people are.
You can
like,
do it, but you can start it on your own.
People like what you say.
I'll be in the background.
People
what do you want them to be open? Like, how do you want them to be open? Do you want
everybody out here fucking and everybody out here pregnant? How don't nobody want to talk about having sex?
What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about experiences? You want to talk about
she want to talk about that swingers club she went to. That's what it is.
No, we're gonna talk about experiences. We're gonna talk about kinks. We're gonna.
Why don't you go there and see if one of those people want to do it?
Right. There you go. At the swingers club.
I don't know them people.
That's all the best, right? That's the best way.
Oh, you
I'm gonna put you on to something when we get off here. I can't.
Your own show and have them as your guests. Have the people at that club as your guests.
Girl, I can't do that. That is a confidential club.
They don't gotta show their faces, just like old bus driver yo. Bus driver yo wasn't on the camera.
I want to be Keisha. The next night I go in there, I might want to be Renee or something. I mean, not like a Renee, like a let me find a name that I don't know.
Is
like
that why you went to
Malaysia or something, huh?
Is that why you went to Jamaica? You tried one of them clubs down
That's not why I went to Jamaica. However,
No, she went down to Jamaica and got one of them butt massages in the water. That's what she went down there to get.
I did that last year. Okay.
And you ain't find the same person this time.
I did not. I didn't find.
Did you let them take you in a cave?
I will say I got propositioned for sex 2 times in Jamaica. One by a man who was there with his wife and he wanted me to go back to his room and have sex with him. The other one was by a girl who wanted me to go have sex with her for some liquor.
Some liquor?
Honey, what was you down there doing?
I need you to raise your standard.
Listen, I said no to both. I don't
believe it.
The guy was like, he was there with his wife. Number one, he was there with his wife. He was being very disrespectful to her. And I did not like it. And I was not trying to get killed in Jamaica.
What was his race?
He was Jamaican, but he looked a little African, but he was Jamaican. He was from Jamaica, but I don't think he lived in Jamaica. I think they were just there visiting. Mm-hmm. But then the girl was like, yeah, you know, I had my flask and I had my Don Julio in my flask because I took a 5th of Don Julio with me, but I didn't bring it this particular day at the pool. So I'm like, oh my God, I should go get my liquor. The girl was like, oh, I have liquor in my room. You want to come back to my room with me and we can drink in my room?
Oh, she was about to liquor. I
was like, no, I'm okay.
Well, she was nervous.
No, I wasn't nervous. I just wasn't interested.
Oh, wasn't the type. Okay, I get it.
Wasn't my type.
I see it. But we can try a little tester. I'll find somebody to come on.
Let me know when the show is. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna keep on commenting.
Oh, scared ass.
Right. Oh, scared ass. Punk ass.
I don't think y'all want. BlackRoses says she know me, so I don't think y'all want me on that show to the extent of the things.
I mean, if you telling anything like bend over at the harbor.
You at the end of the show, y'all gonna be like, "Who he married you?"
You'd be surprised how some people just marry people that they are not sexually inclined with. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many marriages people are not sexually inclined with that person, and that's why they're out here cheating. You'd be surprised.
My heart can't take all this.
People don't know how to openly be transparent with their spouse or their partner about what they like.
Well, it's not knowing how to. It's the comfort and trust level. And I'm gonna have to say, a lot of you Black women are making it hard because y'all. I just want
to openly say, a lot of the Black women I know are not the ones.
I'm just saying, but
a lot of the Black women that are making it hard.
A lot of y'all can't hold water.
A lot of the women who are making it hard are the ones who act like they ain't never did shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you have to understand why that is, but I'm speaking on the ones who
that I know and I hang out with are some low down freaks. And I ain't low down. I say low down. They are comfortable with their sexuality.
I know one of them.
You gotta be.
I know one of them too. She's looking right at me.
You looking at yourself?
I'm talking about your ass.
I'll say it like this. You got a lot of booty eaters around you.
I'm just not gonna sit there, and I don't think everything should be told. You know, if I have a partner that I'm married
Oh,
to,
she classy. She classy, Black
to
Roses.
tell everything, he might not want everything to be told. He might not want everybody to know his comfortability with the questions that his spouse asks him to come and try.
Maybe they can be our 2 secret guests on the episode.
Cool.
They can come on there. They ain't gotta show their
You know
faces.
what? That's what I kind of want to do, Nate. You know how you got the you know how they do the interviews with the people with the black screen, or the screen is black.
That's
They
what he was
disguise their
saying.
voice and they talk about what they like sexually.
Yeah.
Now, are you gonna do like episodes where you show people how to do stuff? Like,
I would like to.
oh, that's awesome. Awesome. So show you bring out.
I would like to, you know, bring on toys and show people the different toys and the
I
different
know a toy lady.
safe ways to use toys, safe ways to have safer sex with your partner so that y'all both feel like y'all are comfortable, ways to ease into it. Yeah.
That's a good idea. When you gonna do your test show?
I gotta get with Nate.
I just gotta. I
He a bullshitter. You are such a bullshitter.
I ain't a bullshitter. I just want to find a male host. I want to find a male.
You don't need a male host. You just need guests. Until you find, you got to go do some of those guests, and that's how you'll find them.
She wants somebody that can give the male version of what she's talking about. I understand that.
I tell people, start where you are. Just have some guests, and you'll find that person in the midst of those guests. Because you don't want to go out searching for that person right now, because they're not gonna last. Because they go
authentic. It's not
typically that it does not last when you do it that way. Find the natural person while you're doing it.
Okay.
You'll know who it is. I'm gonna call bus driver yo up. Maybe he'll do it.
Who the fuck is bus driver yo?
What's the call him to do it?
Who is bus driver yo?
He keeps talking about that boy that was on the MTA.
He definitely wasn't a bus driver.
You never know.
I got somebody for you.
Who?
I might have somebody for you. You want a male guest? Let me talk to him. I might have somebody for you. No, I'm being serious.
I'm being for real because you're playing around.
No, I said I wouldn't set you. That's why I had to speak out ahead of time and say I'm not. No, I'm being for real. I wouldn't. Yeah, I think I got somebody that might work.
We just not gonna tell her who it is. He's just not gonna show his face.
No, it's not. I'm not setting her up. No, I think I got somebody that I think would really be open the same way that you are talking to be open sexually. I think I might got somebody. Let me talk to him first.
Oh, she an old madam.
I am.
Okay, madam.
I am. But y'all, that's our show.
This whole last segment was very informative. I think it was very interesting. You know, we need to be more transparent when it comes to what we like in our pleasures. You know, let's stop making sex a taboo. Let's stop making sex a taboo. As long as you're protecting yourself and you're protecting your others around you, and you are getting tested, let's just talk about that as well. Make sure you're going to get tested. I know we talk a lot and we joke a lot on this show, but let's make sure we're also having safe sex and we're out here getting ourselves tested. We're out here practicing safe sex. We're not out here just raw dogging the whole community, and we're not out here just spreading diseases, and we're not out here just aborting babies left and right. Let's just make sure that we are out here practicing safer ways to have sex.
Absolutely. They said Baltimore is number 4 on the list of HIV. Atlanta is
not even HIV. You know how many people got herpes, and Atlanta, you wouldn't even know it.
You have to be careful. You have to be careful of the statistics, because typically the statistics are where people get tested. It's not where they live. So you have to be real mindful of the test. Of the statistics, because that just shows where people are getting tested.
The health department. I don't know how many of those, especially when I lived in North Carolina, I worked at the doctor's office. I don't know how many of them daggone students over from University of Pembroke I had to report up there being nasty. I had to report a whole damn soccer team one time. Oh, nasty. They was coming left and right to the urgent care. I think they did an orgy.
Or they probably was having sex with the same people or with each other.
I had the whole soccer team. I kept having to send them daggone facts and things over. I said, y'all, if your parents knew what y'all was out here doing, you nasty. You're right, though, because I think it was only 2 girls that came over, but it was a whole soccer team. It was only like 2 or 3 girls that came over.
They probably was having sex with all of them and then with each other.
True, true. But that's the end of our show, y'all. I got to go. I do feel much better a little bit than I did last time. I think Nate said we got next week's topic. Next week's topic, we're going to talk more about a serious matter, more about these shootings, especially the most recent one. So make sure you tune in at 11 a.m. next week.
11 a.m. Right back here. I.Am.She Podcast. Don't
Make
forget
sure
to subscribe
and share.
And if you're available, come out to my event.
Yes.
I'm hoping that BlackRoses will come because
I am coming. I'm going to be there. I am going to be there.
and we'll have a chance to win a $500 gift giveaway for grants to an entrepreneur.
Oh, how do you get your name in that?
You got to show up on time.
I'll be there. I'm coming. I said I was coming. I'm going to support.
So see y'all. Peace out, people.
See y'all next week.